so they call it rat. Try walk up a nickname, but it fall down flat. Cause when the laws get heavy and democracy shake, he was the one saying Barbados, wait, check the aim. Truth is a lighthouse. Truthful already, man, stand up for the facts. Why they calling it rats? Reason, accuracy, transparency. The only kind of rat that Barbados respect. I like that. Why they calling it rats? Why they calling it rats? Cause they're reliable, accountable, truthful already, man, stand up for the facts. Why they calling it rats? Reason, accuracy, transparency. The only kind of rat that Barbados respect. I like that.
Let us stand for the national anthem, please. Let's all stand for the national anthem of Barbados. Good night, everyone. Let's try that again. Good night, everyone. Good night, DLP family. Yes. Good night, Pike Corner. Good night, St. Clements. Good night, KFL. Good night, Little Bay. Good night, everyone, because we of the Democratic Labour Party are here tonight. We are here tonight to have a serious conversation with you. We are here to have a serious discussion with you. Are you happy with what's happening in St. Lucie? Come on, you happy with what's happening in St. Lucie? So we got to do something about it. We got to do something about it. And come the 11th of February, we are going to do something about it. Yes. So we're here tonight. My name is Gary, and I'm here with Margot, my co-host for the evening. And I hope that as we go through this evening, that you will recognize that we all have to make a serious decision. And there's only one decision that we can make, and that is to go with Griff and the DLP. We are making the shift to Griff. And as we begin tonight's proceedings, I'm going to invite a hometown girl, one from Pike Corner. But before I invite her, I want to stand for one moment, because in Pike Corner we have had, or the environs, we have had 3 deaths. We've had Sherry up the hill, we've had Miss Boyce up the road, and we've had Dorico over the road. We want to stand for 1 minute and give them 1 minute silence. So let's stand, and for 1 moment, let's keep quiet for 1 moment and recognize these 3 persons in this area who would have passed. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Now, this, I was saying, we have a hometown girl to come to speak up to us first. Now, we in Pike Corner cannot be happy. Are you happy with the roads in Pike Corner? Are you happy with the water in Pike Corner? Are you happy with the transportation in Pike Corner? So this time I invite Carolyn to come and make the first case for us here tonight. So let's put our hands together and welcome Carolyn to the stage.
Good night, Pike Corner. Yes. Good night, St. Lucie. Good night, Barbados. I stand here tonight, and I want to let you know first why I choose to stand here. If all of you know me, I would be standing elsewhere. And this is not normally where I would stand. But when I began to see the injustice in my land, St. Lucie, I decided that I was going to take a stand. Now, first, let me give you some history. About a year and some ago, I stood in a certain place and I listened to a program. And all I was hearing on this program was the injustices that were going on in Barbados. And I turned and I said, at that time, we had a 30-0 government. And it hurt my heart to see that there was no representative, no other voice than one voice speaking in Barbados. And I turned and I said, my Lord, are you telling me that there is not one man that can stand up in the House of Parliament and stand up to this one person in the House and speak on behalf of the people? Lord, we need somebody to stand up on behalf of Barbadians. About a couple days later, I heard the news that the Honorable Ralph Thorne had stood up in cabinet, and therefore there is now another voice in cabinet to represent the people. I want to say to us tonight, the Honorable Ralph Thorne has been divinely appointed decided to represent Barbadians at this time. And when I saw that representation in the House of Assembly, I decided that I was going to stand as well. So I want us to be sure that the Honorable Ralph Thorne, he is the man at this time for Barbados. Now, the second reason I decided to stand is I have been a resident of St. Lucie for some years now. And I have recognized that in St. Lucie, they seem to think that we are some second-class citizens. But this night I come to say that St. Lucie deserves the same treatment like the rest of Barbados. Tonight I stand for St. Lucie. I become a voice for St. Lucie. There is silence in the House of Parliament on behalf of St. Lucie. There was no representation for St. Lucie. Now you would agree with me. And I'm going to start right here in Pike Corner. If you just go a couple yards up the road, and you see that monstrous thing up there. I call it a thing up there. And it has no purpose. It is an embarrassment to the people in Pike Corner. Pike Corner deserves better. We deserve better. People of Pike Corner, do you agree with me that we deserve better? Not only that, for the past 3-4 years or so, and you know this is my pet peeve, we have been getting, I can't call it water, we have been getting sewage coming through our taps. And they want us to sit down and keep quiet and accept that this is what we deserve. I come tonight, and I know you people in St. Lucie agree with me, but that is not right. We deserve better. We deserve better. And when we thought we would have had some form of representation, we got silence. Is that good enough for us, Pike Corner? We deserve representation. And our representative, Mr. Phillips, he stood there silently. And he only spoke up when the people in St. Lucie decided that we were going to rise up and we were going to speak about how we were being treated with the water. And guess what he rose up and said? When we said that we should not pay water bills because we were not getting water, we were getting sewage, what did our representative say? He said, pay the bills. Pay the bills. Instead of standing with us and representing us, he went against us. And it didn't end there. When we decided we were going to have a motorcade to sensitize the people of St. Lucie about what was going on and how we were mobilizing ourselves to protest. Can you believe, instead of our representative joining us and speaking up for us, he stood by the wayside. He stood by the wayside with a cell phone in his hand. And he was like there threatening us for representing ourselves because of the dirty water we were getting. Our representative stood there and threatened us, intimidated us. But I stand to say tonight, we need better representation in St. Lucie. Do you agree with me? And therefore, tonight, we call for better representation in St. Lucie. Our roads are horrible. The gutters are horrible. Years ago, I would go and pick dunks further off in the alley. Now we can see the dump trees by the side of the road. Is that good enough, St. Lucie? It is not good enough. It is not good enough. And then we've had a representative, Ian Griffith. I stand tonight to endorse Ian Griffith. And I tell you why I stand to endorse Ian Griffith. This man is a professional. Do you agree that he's a professional? He's a professional. Not only is he a professional, he has landed on his feet and he has started to work for the people of St. Lucie already. Have you heard your representative, Mr. Phillips, standing and speaking for the people in St. Lucie? Mr. Ian Griffith has come on the scene, and already he is all over St. Lucie and is representing the people. I want you to give it up for Ian Griffith, the next representative of St. Lucie. Now, Mr. Griffith has done more than Mr. Phillips in this short time. Right now, Mr. Griffith has gone and he has done a test on our water. Have you heard Mr. Phillips doing any tests on the waters and giving us any information? We have had Mr. Griffith doing a test and he came back with the test results. And what did Mr. Phillips say? It's a lie. It's a lie. Now tell me, people of St. Lucie, in order to say it's a lie, you must have the truth, right? You would have had to have the truth. And if Mr. Phillips has the truth, why is he sitting down on the truth? Why hasn't he come out and tell the residents of St. Lucie what is going on with the water? We are, listen, folks. This is not over. This is not over. It is not over. We are asking Mr. Phillips, if he has the truth, come and tell us the truth. What is going on with the water in St. Lucie? What is in the water in St. Lucie? What is running through our pipes? The Minister of Health came to us and they advised us to boil our water. You remember that? Boil our water. But yet they have not told us what they found in the water that they called us to boil it. Right now we are still awaiting the report as to what is in our water. Tell us the truth. And let me tell you, it will not finish here. Because when this is over, we see pipes being changed out over and over. Tell me something, people in St. Lucie, is the water any different? The pipes are being changed out and the water is still in the state it is in. And I'm saying when this is over, the people in St. Lucie deserve compensation. We deserve compensation. We have suffered enough. We have suffered enough. And we will not tolerate people believing that we are second-class citizens. Our transportation is in disarray. Our water is in disarray. The road is in disarray. What are we going to do come February the 11th, people in St. Lucie? We will vote for Ian Griffith. We will vote Ian Griffith. And I want to tell us something. They have two Griffiths on the ballot. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. The shortest name, I-A-N. Ian. We voted for Ian. Come February the 11th from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. We voted Ian Griffith. I thank you.
Ralphie, Uncle Ralphie,
Too many lies in 25. Time to smoke out your behind. Too many lies in 25. Had to fight to stay alive. Now down with the tricks in 26. Uncle Ralphie sharing licks. Down with the tricks in 26. Poor people lies hard like brick. Hard like brick.
Empty promises, leave the premises.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen of Pike Corner, comrades of the Democratic Labour Party. We are here tonight to speak the truth. I heard somebody saying earlier he wanted to hear the truth. We only bring the truth from this platform. And the truth we are bringing. Comrade Rock earlier spoke that she wasn't hearing anything. But you all can read the official Gazette of Parliament, and you'll see there are no contributions from the parliamentary representative of St. Lucie on behalf of nothing that happened in St. Lucie. He had 3 ministries under his portfolio, and he did nothing to assist us. And he did not get up in Parliament and say anything to represent us. He was in housing, he had transport, and he was at agriculture. So you all can prove for yourself, and the person who wants to hear truth tonight, he can go and research that is truth that we're speaking about. The Democratic Labour Party here is to tell you what is happening in our country and in this parish of St. Lucie. Our roads are awful. Our bus service is awful. It's really painful. And this one always stay up with me. You might be in the bus stand from, if you missed that one, 1:30 Pike Corner Josie Hill bus, you know you're not getting another one till 5:36. And pray tell you, pray tell you, even when he was acting or minister, the second minister of transport and work, it was the same thing. And you would think that you'll find someone who is a minister would get up and do the dog, as you say, in Parliament on behalf of the residents that he represents. He did nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, we have no choice but to tell the man, if you want to rest and you don't want to talk, go home and sleep. We will make the shift with a Griff. So come February 11th from 6 till 6, just vote for Griff. We will give the shift and we will relieve him because he don't want to speak in Parliament on your behalf. So why would we be putting him back there? He had opportunities to do things for down here. He did nothing. He had opportunities to give people down here jobs and he did nothing. For a perfect example, which always stuck with me, when he was agriculture, his other partner with him employed 220 people from St. Phillips. He brought 12. The workers there asked him what's the problem. He said the people down there all right. How the France could be all right and another person could employ 320 people and you only bring 12. That means he doesn't have any regards for you. Ladies and gentlemen, let the man go home and rest. Come February the 11th, let him go home and rest. And yes, we're going to do it. We're going to do it, and we all got to do it. Don't say you ain't going. You know, some people are saying, are you ain't voting? What you ain't when you ain't voting and things happen, don't open your mouth because you can't say nothing. You ain't help. You didn't help. So get up and go and vote. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring Mr. Norman Yearwood to help fill in this time for us now. Come, where Norman going?
Seats are moving, seats are moving, one day I'll pay. Seats are moving, seats are moving, seats are moving, seats are moving, one day I'll pay. Seats are moving, seats are moving, yellow is the code, determination the mode, young guns rise up, we carrying below, future in we hands, Barbados we see, seats and moving, jump on the DLP, seats and moving, there we push the bus, one DLP, moving on with us, together as one, we can take the fight, seats and moving, the future bright, all we and not you, the eyes on the prize, no time to waste, energy strong, we setting the pace from the block to the hill, from the coast to the town, one DLP, we can hold it down.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen, the lovely people of Pike Corner, Cave Hill, Little Bay, Bell Road, Rockfield, good night. My job here tonight is to ask you whether you're Democratic Labour Party supporter, whether you stayed home last election, whether you're a Barbados Labour Party supporter, when you go to the polls on Wednesday, the only person you can vote for is Ian Richard Griffith. We in St. Lucie, and I'm going to choose my words carefully, we have elected a person to Parliament. We did not get a representative. We elected a person to Parliament, but we did not get a representative. And what I'm going to ask you tonight is that when you go to the polls on Wednesday and you cast your vote for Ian Richard Griffith, you will be getting a representative. A voice who will speak for the people of St. Lucie. Ian is well known. He is a leader. He has a dignified profession. And we know that when he walks up the steps of Parliament, that we will get adequate representation. We have heard a lot about the water. I'm not going to speak about the water. I'm going to speak about the water bill. Because when we look at our water bills, we see a minimum charge. Although we do not use any water from the Water Authority, yet we see a minimum charge. And added to that minimum charge is garbage and sewage. And I just want to touch on that a bit, because none of us from St. James to St. Lucie, St. Andrew, St. Thomas, St. Joseph, St. John are attached to the sewage project in Barbados. So why are we paying a sewage tax? And it gets even more difficult because if we have a septic tank, we then have to pay the truck for carting away that sewage. And I'm seeing that some representation has to be made to the Barbados Water Authority that when we clean our sewage tanks, we should be able to take that bill to the Barbados Water Authority to get a refund. Because we are subsidizing the big business in Barbados who are attached to the sewage tank, to the sewage project. These are things which the person who we elected to Parliament has not been represented in us on. We need proper representation in terms of the hardships which the people in St. Lucie are placed upon. As we drive around St. Lucie, we are seeing a lot of roadworks going on. Now we see a lot of roadworks going in Hope Road, in Crab Hill, here in Cove Bay, Pike Corner. But yet when we look to the east, that bridge, which was there for some time, is still impassable. And these are the things which we cannot continue to support. Because if we elected a person to Parliament, at least we should be seeing some improvement in terms of the road network. When we drive across Hope Road, we see probably from halfway in Spring Hall up to halfway in Hope Road, a road being paved. Now, how many residents do you have living in that area? But yet when you get to Hope Road and Connelltown and Northumberland, coming all the way around, where there are residents, the road is in a deplorable state. For every 10 or 15 feet, there is a ditch. Now we in St. Lucie have to leave and we have to travel probably to St. Michael or further afield to work. The wear and tear on our vehicles is really exorbitant. And this is what we should be calling on our elected person to represent us on. Shocks on our cars, tires on our cars, this is wear and tear. And if we do not get proper representation, then we are at a loss. Now what has we had in the last 7.5 years? A person who stands behind the Prime Minister and says, I support the Prime Minister. What has he put forward to the Prime Minister in support of the people of St. Lucie? Nothing. And I say, come February 11th, go to the polls, Barbados Labour Party supporter, Democratic Labour Party supporter, persons who did not vote, get up and go to the polls and place your vote by the name of Ian Richard Griffith, a man who will stand for principle and who will give us in St. Lucie proper and adequate representation. I call on you again, Ian Richard Griffith, to be the duly elected representative for the constituency of St. Lucie. I understand that Mr. Jason Phillips, who is the candidate for St. Peter, is here, and I now would like to invite Jason to come to the podium. Thank you.
Okay. You know, we, the Democratic Labour Party, are in a termination mode. Come the 11th of February, we are sending home lots of people. Come the 11th of February, we have 30 people to send home because we are going to reclaim the government of Barbados. We are going to reclaim power in Barbados. We are going to take Barbados in the right direction come the 11th of February. And it's going to start here in St. Lucie. So on the 11th, what are we going to do? We're going to vote them. We're going to vote them. We're going to vote them. And then we're going to St. Peter. And in St. Peter, we have a man who will vote, who will lead in charge in St. Peter. And come the 11th of February, he will be the next representative for St. Peter. So I'm going to call Mr. Jason Phillips, a man who I knew for many years, a man who is dynamic, a man who is popular, a man who is honest. Mr. Jason Phillips will now address you.
Principal! And they saying it loud and plain that they ain't voting for that boy Carolyn Jordan again. The beast controlling the parish, but development we can't see. So this election we changing course, we switching to the DLP. We going with Jesus.
Paikona. Good night, good people of St. Lucie. Someone said I can't dance, but I don't care because I know when Ian Griffith wins St. Lucie, we all will be dancing. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak directly with you tonight. I don't take this opportunity lightly. It is a privilege to stand before you, not as a stranger, but as a neighbor, as family, as someone who knows and loves the North. I bring you warm greeting tonight from the good people of St. Peter. They are happy. They are very, very happy to be associated with you. We are linked by history, by family, by work, and by the same struggle. And tonight, I feel at home. I feel at home because my roots are deep right here in this beautiful peninsula we call St. Lucie. My grandmother, before she was married, was a Griffith from in Crab Hill, right in St. Lucie. So I am linked to you through bloodline. I also have a lot of family right here in St. Lucie. When I say a lot, I mean a lot. And I have already asked all of them to vote for Ian Griffith. If you see me around and you say, I am family, and someone say I'm family, believe them. Also, I went to school right here in St. Lucie. I attended the St. Lucie Secondary School. Yes, I am a Gosh boy, and proudly so. I say all of that to make this point. This parish has produced some of the finest workers, professionals, and citizens in Barbados. Because of free education under the Right Excellent Walton Barrow, children from humble beginnings were given a chance. I sat in a classroom with people like Wallace Blackman, who went on to become a chartered accountant and a lawyer. I also sat with people like Professor Worrell. He went to school here in St. Lucie. Some of you might know Dr. Phillips from around the corner. He went to school here, and he was born right here. Education opened doors, and St. Lucie walked through them. But St. Lucie has always been more than books and classrooms. This parish knows hard work. We have farmers. We have artisans. We have fishermen. And let me say this clearly tonight. Tremendous wealth is in the soil of this constituency. And tremendous wealth is in the seas of this peninsula. That is why foreign investors fish in our waters. That is why they benefit right from the waters of St. Lucie. These waters having lobsters, conch, crab, and all kinds of fish. I know this personally. My uncle, fish in St. Lucie for a living. And I said all of that to say this. People of St. Lucie, you must be given an opportunity to earn right here. And I'm saying, once you elect Ian Griffith, he will ensure that you do not starve, that you get a piece of the pie. And when I say that, I mean this. Why can't the young people here in St. Lucie be given a piece of land to farm? And when I say give a piece of land, I mean the government lease them land and then give them a grant to get the land into production. And then give them contracts, either at the prison, at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, at the Barbados Defense Force, at the geriatric hospital, or some other government agency. We will not leave the fishermen out either. We will give you a grant to assist you with your boats and your fish nets and your fish pots, because you must earn too. And when you bring in your fish on evenings, you must be able to sell this fish to government, because home drums must beat first. And you will bet who bet you. In other words, we want to turn you into business people. And with an acre or two of land, with fish to sell, you can hire people to work with you or for you. You sell it to government. That lowers the cost of living. It reduces the import bill. It reduces unemployment in St. Lucie, but it put you to work. You can get money in your pocket. You can carry home, and there's an arbitrary figure. Let's say you're producing produce for government to the tune of $10,000 a week, and that's a small figure. You know you are earning $40,000 a month. The government that you elect must represent you. And if they care about you, they're going to provide contracts for you. And if they don't provide contracts for you, like they are doing now, vote them out. Vote in the Democratic Labour Party, and we will give you contracts. We will look after you. Ian Griffith will make sure that you are looked after. I feel strongly about this. I want to touch on transport. We must split the buses. We cannot have the Pike Corner and Josie Hill bus together. When you leave work on evenings at 4:30, you should not have to go on an excursion before you get home. You want to come home and deal with your supper, deal with your children. And if you have to be driving around, not knowing when the next bus is going to come, then it means that the government has failed you. You have to vote for a government that is interested in serving you. And I know that the current government, the outgoing government, it did not care, it still does not care. Because after the first term, and it was not resolved, after the second term, and it was not resolved, even after they brought in new buses, I am saying to you, they do not care. Why should you have to stand at a bus stop for 2 and 3 hours? It tells me they don't care. And to look at people, at ordinary Barbadians, and say to them that they are divesting the transport board, that's a big word for say, we are going to close the transport board. I am saying to you, under the Democratic Labour Party, that will not happen. I, Jason Phillips, will not allow it. I am not afraid to lock horns with anyone who are not unfair Barbadians. It will not happen under my watch. I feel motivated for you people You know why? Because the people of St. Lucie are good people. I know. I mingle among you. I went to school with you. Some of my family are from St. Lucie. And I will not allow people to unfair you. Ian will not allow people to unfair you. You know Ian. You know the kind of man he is. He's an honest man. He's an upright man. Ian is ready to work on your behalf from day one. Give Ian Griffith your vote. Go out on the 11th of February. That is Wednesday coming. Go early the morning. Don't wait till the afternoon. You don't know what can happen. The rain might fall. Go early. It's France. Go early in the morning at 6 a.m. and cast your X in the box beside Ian's name, right in the middle. Do not allow the pencil to go on the line or the vote will be spoiled. Do not vote for more than one person. Just put the X by Ian's name. No one knows your business. Give Ian a personal vote. He deserves it. I can tell you, Ian is ready to work from day one. You have an incompetent member of parliament who is on his way out, by the way, and leave him with no doubt that you don't want him anymore. I almost fallen a well on my way here. The roads are atrocious. They are just as bad as the roads in St. Peter. And some people argue that they are worse. And pray tell me, I could not see a street light in most areas in St. Lucie. It is unfair. It is unreasonable. You good people, we pay our taxes. You pay taxes in fuel. When you buy fuel, you pay road taxes. Even the man or the woman cutting grass alongside their house with a bushwhacker or lawnmower paying road taxes. So why should the government leave you all like this here? Almost 8 years now. What are they doing with your taxes? You have to vote out this bunch of unscrupulous people. I am speaking from the bosom. I am telling you the truth. I do not want you to feel as though we want. Thank you. I don't want to feel as though you think I am trying to mama guy you. Look around. Look at the issues. This government borrowed about $10 billion. That is, a billion is 1,000 million. Think about it. Not 1 million, not 100 million. 1,000 million is a billion, and they borrowed $10 billion. Are you seeing value for money? Are you seeing value for money? So, should we vote out this incompetent government? Should we vote for Ian? Should we vote for Ian? Go out on Wednesday and vote for Ian. St. Lucie, I love you. Vote for Ian.
St. Peter talking, and they saying it loud and plain that they ain't voting for that boy Carolyn Jordan again. The beast controlling the parish, but development we can't see. So this election we changing course, we switching to the DLP. We going with Jason. We going with Jason. We going with Jason. Phillips, he's the man.
We're going with Jason, but we're also going with Ian. We just wish Jason all the luck in St. Peter. Let him send home Colin to rest himself. Ladies and gentlemen, as we continue tonight, we spoke about the minister when he had transport. But I just want to ask any of you all, did Mr. Phillips ever brought a bottle of water to you all or a case of water for you all since this water issue? You know, at least if the man had any conscience or feeling for us, he would have brought, even if he came in the night and brought it. This man don't have no uses for us besides we put in a salary in his pocket every month if we put him back in Parliament. Let us tell him we have had enough of that, and that we have. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker have drove from Christchurch to address us. He is representing the constituency of Christchurch South. He will put the young lady who cried when the archives burned down. I don't know what he will put her to cry come February the 11th. Ladies and gentlemen, he also put me to be concerned when he spoke about the electoral list. You see how much confusion there is going on now with electoral list? And I don't know if you all in St. Lucie realize it or if only down my side. We got circulars from the electoral office. We got circulars from Ian Griffith. We're getting them from the Member of Parliament for St. Lucie as yet. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to invite to you Mr. Corey Grenidge to come and address us tonight. Mr. Grenidge, we welcome you.
Sit and moving, one day I'll go. Sit and moving, sit and moving, sit and moving, sit and moving, one day I'll go. Sit and moving, sit and moving. Yellow is the code, determination in mode. Young dems rise up, we carry in below. Future in we hands, Barbados we see. Sit and moving, jump on the DLP. Sit and moving, there we push the bus. One DLP, moving on with us. Together as one, we can take the fight. Sit and moving, the future bright.
Good night, St. Lucie. Boy, this is amazing to be all the way up here, boy. Let me tell you, I don't come up here very often, but I am excited tonight to be up here. When I pulled in, I saw all the yellow up here. I was like, yes, we are in business. My name is Corey Grenidge. I am the Democratic Labour Party candidate for the constituency of Christchurch South, which means that I'm right on the other end from you guys. And the thing about it is, the issues that are in Christchurch South may be different from some of the issues that are up here in St. Lucie. But for the time that I've been here, I have noticed that there's one thing, no matter that we're on the opposite sides of the island, there's one thing that I can tell you and I realize for sure. The people of Christchurch South and the people of St. Lucie need good representation. That is what it's all about. So even if the issues are different in Christchurch South from in St. Lucie, and maybe different from St. Philip West and from St. Michael, what we in Barbados need is good representation. You see the present government, Mayor Motley, right now she is about waging a campaign where Mayor Motley puts her face in every single constituency. Is her face in St. Lucie as well? Yes, it is. But that has kind of confused our electoral system. Mayor Motley's not running in 30 constituencies. She likes to pretend that she is. Mayor Motley wants you, every single body in Barbados, to vote for Mayor Motley, and then she takes 29 yes men and women and tag on to her petticoat. But that's not what we are about. You see, that happened in the last two elections, and we in the Democratic Labour Party, we have been quiet. Democratic Labour Party voters have been afraid to come out. But if what I'm seeing tonight is different from the rest of the two elections, we are going to share some licks come Wednesday, February the 11th, 2026. You see, Mayor Motley is good at giving the electorate the impression that she is a strong leader. Just vote for me, give me more time, stay the course, all these little catchphrases. But when you look under the catchphrases, you see, you realize that it's just the only thing that the Barbados Labour Party government is good at doing is public relations. They're good at PR, you see. They're good at giving the impression that they know what they are doing, and they forget about actually good representation. And I understand that the people in St. Lucie, you need good representation. I've not been up here. I'm not going to brag about that. But a couple of months ago, I saw the head of the Barbados Water Authority talking about brown water good to drink. And if you had good representation at that time, your representative would have gotten up and spoken out against that nonsense. Do you understand what I'm saying? We Barbadians, we have to get up and start to speak. You see me, I am passionate about this stuff because if we have one leader, a dear leader, that if everything she says is well done and the other 29 idiots behind her can't speak on behalf of you, can't speak on behalf of the people in St. Peter and in St. James and in St. George, if the only voice that matters is Mayor Motley, then something is wrong in this country. I'm going to say that again. If the only voice and the person that matters is Mayor Motley, then something is wrong. We're going to have brown water in St. Lucie, and fishermen in Oisins can't get ice, and we can't get good representation. So Democratic Labour Party voters, I drove all the way up here tonight. I had to put on GPS to find where this is. I'm going to lie to you. And then at one point in time, I turned to my driver and said, you know what part you going? He said, well, I know you know. We get lost. You understand what I'm saying? And when we get down the road here, we had the GPS to work, and we had to stop a man and ask him what part Pike Corner is. He must say, well, you're in Pike Corner already. We need good representation. You have a young man in Ian Griffith, dedicated. That man is always on the go. A businessman, a man that you know in this community, a man that I can tell you right now, no matter what, Ian will get up and he will represent the people of St. Lucie. And I don't know if you may not know me very well, but I want to tell you tonight, right? I talk plain and I talk truth. The issues that you are facing up here, there's no silver bullet. So if you plan to vote and think that we're going to snap our fingers and everything is going to be all right, people of St. Lucie, that's not how it works. How it works is that you want to vote in Ian Griffith, who on day one is going to start to work to find the solutions. On day one, he's going to come back to you and let you know what the progress is. He's going to go into the halls of Parliament and agitate for what needs to be done. He's going to confuse the ministers that are responsible so that we get the solutions. He is a hard-working businessman, and he will be a hard-working man for you in St. Lucie. All you've had so far is a good PR campaign. And when they recognize, listen to me good, when they recognize that you Democrats in St. Lucie getting ready to kick out that other man, I ain't even call his name. You know what they did? They did what the Barbados Labour Party does best. They come up in St. Lucie to hold a fete. The first thing they do is they bring a big fete up in St. Lucie to convince you that once you hold a big fete, everything gonna be all right. Once you offer the people a plate of food at a picnic, everything gonna be all right. If you see the sea of red and we jumping up with vulgarity on the stage, that we are cool and everything is going to be all right. But Democratic Labour Party voters, we know better than that. Because you know something? When the music stops, they have not fixed the problem with the water. When the music stops, the water's still brown. When the music stops, people are still struggling to feed their families. When the music stops, people are still struggling to put school clothes on their children's back. You imagine that? Do not let this Barbados Labour Party mama guy you. That's a Trinidadian thing. They come to fool you. They come to give you the impression that they have everything under control. One woman trying to convince you that everything is all right. But tonight, St. Lucie, when you go to the polls on February the 11th, this Wednesday coming, you place your X next to Ian Griffith's name because you want good representation in this constituency. You see, Mayor Motley is waging a campaign about personality. Mayor Motley is waging a campaign about popularity. And when all the popularity and the personality, you see, Mayor Motley is flying all over the world, talking about she's fighting for this and trying to tell industrial countries how to run the world. And don't get me wrong, Bajans enjoy the limelight. We can even say we are proud that she's able to speak on the national stage. But I don't know if you've ever met anybody, a husband, that when he out in public, he hugging up his wife, he kissing she up, giving the impression that everything is all right at home, and when they get back home, things rough. That's how Mayor Motley is behaving. On the world stage, everything looks good, but she can't take care of what's happening at home. She's not taking care of her people. She's not taking care of the high prices in the supermarket. She's not taking care of the things that matter to the Barbadian people. I don't know about you, but I would rather have clean water in St. Lucie than Mayor Motley in the UN giving a fancy speech. I would rather have affordable housing than Mayor Motley up in Uganda giving a fancy speech. I would rather be able to feed my children than Mayor Motley flying all over Europe on private jets. I would rather have a country that is working for working class people, a democracy that means that we can educate all young men and that they do not end up in jail. That is about the people here. That is about the people in St. Lucie, the people in Christchurch, the people in St. Philip. Let me tell you something. This election, ladies and gentlemen, all of you that are in front of me, even those that may be within the hearing of my voice, if you remember nothing else that I tell you tonight, you see, this election, it is going to be the most pivotal and consequential election in recent history in Barbados. It is going to be the most important election in Barbados' recent history. And I'll tell you why. We have gone down a road in this country where personality, where popularism and all this kind of PR campaign is what the Barbadian people seem to be holding on to. And you, the Democratic Labour Party voters, have slinked away into the background, waiting, hiding. I walk around and I see cars full of red. People, the red people are proud. And the Democrats are afraid to come out because they don't want nobody to see them on a political meeting. I can talk truth. I don't know if you're all accustomed to truth in St. Lucie, but when I in Christchurch, I talk the truth. The Democratic Labour Party voters behave as if they are not proud of their party. The Democratic Labour Party voters understand how this government operates, victimizing public servants. Let me tell you something. We could barely find an artist in this country to write a song for the Democratic Labour Party. And I am telling you tonight, don't worry about the big crowds that you see in red. Don't worry about the big picnic. Don't worry about the big concert that they brought to St. Lucie. You go into the polling station on February the 11th and you cast your vote for Ian Griffith. Do you understand what I'm saying? They could party. They could have the music. They could have the fanfare. You know what I saw? I woke up this morning. I am a Christian. I love the Lord Jesus Christ in my life. And I am not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And I woke up this morning. Every morning, I'm a morning person. So right now, it passed my bedtime. I tell you the truth. I usually wake up around 4 a.m., 5 a.m. I read the newspaper, I read my Bible. And this morning, as I am flipping through the news on the social media pages, I saw a popular gospel artist singing at an event at the Barbados Labour Party. And the camera panned to me immediately, and she's raising her hand, pretending that she knows something about serving God. I said, well, that is interesting. And then she started to speak. And I thought to myself, this woman is so masterful at pretending that she knows about the average Barbadian, pretending that she understands about Christianity and serving God. When you have public servants that are frightened to hold on to their jobs if they support a Democratic Labour Party, that's not what we are accustomed to in Barbados. This same Prime Minister, that when she mounted the Parliament steps after the last election, she was flanked by 3 big members of the criminal element in Barbados, and now she has gospel singing at her rally. Listen to me, I am not afraid, so I am going to talk it. You can't be in the church and the chapel too. Choose a lane. I am saying to you tonight that we cannot be ashamed of what we believe in. We cannot be ashamed to stand up for the rights of the people of Barbados. We cannot be ashamed of saying to this government and speaking to power that we are not satisfied with your representation, and we should be ready to stand up and fight for our own rights. That's why I am doing this. That's why Ian Griffith is doing it. Ian Griffith is a businessman. You all know him well. He has a very successful business. I am an attorney at law. I work in a very successful organization. Neither of us have to get up and do this. But you know why we are doing this tonight? We are doing this because we know the people need good representation. We are doing this because the people need voices. We are doing this. You saw Jason Phillips here today. Jason Phillips is an attorney at law. He doesn't have to do this. We are doing this because we need to be voices for the voiceless. We are doing this because we believe in what we are doing, and we are not ashamed of it. So we are saying to you, if we are brave enough to stand here on the stage and declare truth to power, you have to be brave enough on Wednesday to walk into that poll and put your X next to Ian Griffith's name. Put your X next to good representation. Put your X next to a voice that will fight for you. That is why we are here. You see, this government, they like to pretend as if they have everything under control. And I came on to the political scene. I'm not a political animal, you know. I've only been doing this over the last year or so. And they like to call me a bit of a nerd, you know. They do all this research. I like to do my research. I like to look at the papers. I like to read the bills. Because the truth of the matter is, if we just take everything that this government says, you will swear that everything is rosy and bright and everything is perfect. But I am telling you tonight, St. Lucie, if you just peep under the surface, if you just turn the page a couple of times and you read it, you realize everything is not okay. Let me tell you something. You see that Hope project? You see the housing projects? This government promised you, the Barbadian people, that they were going to build 10,000 houses for low-income and middle-income people in this country. 10,000 houses. They partnered with a private entity, Hope Inc., irony in the name, Hope. And do you know, out of the 10,000, oh, I forgot, they originally planned to build 10,000 and then added on an additional 2,000 for good measure. I want you to guess, by a show of hands here, how many of you know how many houses out of the 10,000 houses they actually built? You want to know? I can tell you tonight, they have built a complete total of 110 out of the 10,000. A man here likes me said I lie. I lie. I telling you tonight. That's why I tell you, all you gotta do sometimes, right, is just peep under the surface, you know. So they like the big facts. They like to tell you how everything is going great. Me and Motley called the election and said, let me stay the course. I just projected. I didn't mean that. I just projected my voice. Stay the course. But if you look at the Auditor General's report on the whole project, let me tell you what the course looks like. First thing first, the government write a check for $64 million to Hope Inc., a private entity, to build these 10,000 houses. The land that they were supposed to build the houses on, they didn't have the title deeds to, so they had to halt a big portion of the project. The couple of houses that they wanted to build, the estimated budget was about $100 and something thousand per house, and the Auditor General says that it ended up being over $250,000, so they already blew the budget. It was supposed to be all sorts of sustainable development project using solar energy. That went through the pipeline. That never happened. And even the 91 houses that are now in train, stuck. They did not properly vet the artisans that were building houses. So a few houses that were almost finished, they had a breakdown because it was not livable. Poor management, wastage of taxpayers' money, total chaos in Hope Project. And yet this government, this Prime Minister, has the audacity to come to the people after 7.5 years being in power and say, stay the course. Give me more time. No, Madam Prime Minister, you are out of time. People of St. Lucie saying you are out of time. We are going to elect Ian Griffith. We are going to elect Jason Phillips. We are going to elect Ralph Torn. We are going to elect Corey Grenidge. And we are going to form the next government in this country and start to address the issues of the working people in Barbados. Don't let them fool you people in St. Lucie. I'm sure my time is up. I just wanted to talk to you as long as I could, because I don't know when next I can make that traverse to get to St. Lucie. But when Ian Griffith is the duly elected representative for the constituency of St. Lucie, I promise I will come back and I will share a drink with you guys here at the... No, you want to come and share a drink? I have to come and share a drink with a man there. But I want to leave you with just this simple instruction. Simple instruction. You see, 6 a.m. this coming Wednesday, February the 11th, let me tell you something. This is our time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our time. They cannot take that from you. No matter what they say, no matter what they do, they cannot take your democratic right to cast your vote for the representative that you know will represent your interests in the House of Parliament. So, St. Lucie folks, the choice is clear. You don't want a government that had the opportunity to give a hospital to this country, in this part of the country. You don't want a government that had a fully outfitted center up there that they used for COVID. That one would think if they cared anything about the people in St. Lucie, they would then make that a medical facility for the people in St. Lucie and the people in St. Peter. But instead, I don't know what they've done with all the equipment. Instead, they have turned it into something like a dormitory for foreign nationals. That's what the government is doing up here. Come Wednesday, you will cast your X for Ian Griffith and cast your X for good representation. People of St. Lucie, thank you for having me. This was indeed a pleasure. This was indeed my honor. God bless you and good night.
Sit and moving, one day I'll sit and moving, sit and moving. sanctuary we hands. Barbados we see. Seats and moving. Jump on the DLP. Seats and moving. There we push the bus. One DLP. Moving on with us. Together as us. Together as us.
Thank you very much, Corey, for that wonderful and hard-hitting speech. Now, we have come to Pike Corner. And Pike Corner is very important to the Democratic Labour Party in St. Lucie. For me, Pike Corner is the ancestral home of the Democratic Labour Party in St. Lucie. And we are coming here in the spirit of a man like Branca and Truda and Evelyn Graves and Dennis Cameron, because I believe they stood in Pike Corner and they made a promise to you that they will represent you, and they represented you. Now tonight we are bringing a man who is coming to Pike Corner, and he too will make that promise that he will represent you, that he will stand for you, that he will work with you and make sure that St. Lucie rises to the top. So this time I want you to stand. I want you to turn on your cell phones, let the light shine, and welcome to the stage the next representative for St. Lucie, Mr. Ian Richard Griffith.
I would like to wiggle my nose and say let there be pipe. It takes time for them to lay pipe. Mom, like she think we stupid or we bewitched. So this time we gon' switch. Phillips got revex, revex, revex. Cannot get VX, VX, VX. Phillips got revex, revex, revex. Cannot get VX, VX, VX. We gon' shift to Griff, we gon' shift to Griff, we gon' shift, 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 shift to Griff, we gon' shift to Griff, we gon' shift to Griff, we gon' shift, 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 shift to Griff. I am the only female parish, but the way he treated me like he don't like Lucy. Propose everywhere like the man just don't care. Tell him move, make room, cause we shifting to Griff. Yeah, we voting for Griff. Tell him move, make room, cause we shifting to Griff. Yeah, we voting for Griff. Phillips got revex, revex, revex. Cannot get VX, VX, VX. Phillips got revex, revex, revex. Cannot get VX, VX, VX. We gon' shift to Griff, we gon' shift to Griff, we gon' shift, 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 shift to Griff, we gon' shift to Griff, we gon' shift to Griff, we gon' shift, 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 shift to Griff. The only thing he done do is promise. Pull out the book and got a long list. When he say he gon' get back to you, we all know it never come true. Tell him move, make room, cause we shifting to Griff. Yeah, we voting for Griff. Tell him move, make room, cause we shifting to Griff. Yeah, we voting for Griff. Phillips vote adrift, shift to Griff. No third term, shift to Griff. Phillips vote adrift, shift to Griff. No third term, shift to Griff. The brown water that we get, they say it good to drink. The brown water that we get, tell me now what we must think. The brown water that we get, should we pay for that? It stinks, stinks, stinking, and that's a fact. He asked for apology that we never got. He asked for apology, they said a single drop. He asked for apology that we never got, and he should apologize to us for that. The road, mash up, the road, mash up, we wheels, mash up, we heels, mash up, the road, mash up, the road, mash up, we wheels, mash up, we heels, mash up, the road, mash up, the road, mash up, we wheels, mash up, we heels, mash up, the road, mash up, the road, mash up, we wheels, mash up, we heels, mash up. Vote Ian Griffith for St. Lucie.
Good night, Pike Corner. Good night, Cave Hill, Rockfield, and Coconut Hall, and Bishops. Now, tonight, after a special day today, I am honored to be here on this platform with you. Now, last night in St. John, we had a wonderful and beautiful time in St. John, didn't we? We heard from the leader, Comrade Ralph Anthony Thorne, on the plans that he has, that this Democrat Labour Party have for this island of Barbados. And it was well received, not only in person, but those online. And then today, I went to church today in Hope Road, and it was a very moving spirit. So last night, I heard about a letter that was online that was sent out to the residents of St. Lucie. You know, we have, our leader always talk about the letters. And he sent a letter to the observers last night. So this letter that was sent out to the residents was sent out, I believe, on behalf of the representative that we have now, only for 3 more days, should be on the job. That job that he should be doing, but he wasn't doing. But I want to speak about this letter. So I had a letter to send back to Mr. Phillips, not the representative, because after February 11th, he will just go back to that. Mr. Phillips, he will no longer be the MP. He will no longer be the representative for this good parish of St. Lucie, because you, the people of St. Lucie, you're not stupid, you're not ignorant, you're bright, you're energetic, hardworking. And most of all, you are St. Lucie. You are who make up St. Lucie. So this letter that was sent out, I have a return letter to the gentleman. So he wanted to point out that there were some people on our side who were seeking political office. And some of our supporters who seem to think that, you know, we were incapable. We in St. Lucie are incapable of making judgments, proper judgments, reasonable judgments. And this is what he is saying to the people of St. Lucie, that we are trying to promote that we in St. Lucie don't make proper judgments. So they think that we are incapable. That's what he thinks. Because the people that you see here, these good supporters, and many of you who are online, you are capable of making reasonable judgments. And you make judgments based on what you have seen before in the past. But you're not looking at what was in the past, you're looking at what you're feeling now, what is presented to you right now. Because you want to make a judgment. You want to make a judgment that's going to bring you a better future. A judgment that is going to take you away from the pains that you've been suffering for the 7+ years. Sometimes they feel that they think that they have been doing such a good job, and they will want to tell you that. And I say they because I can't say the gentleman. I can't say the representative felt that he was doing a good job, because you know why? Every poster on the polls, every red poster on the polls of St. Lucie says why he cannot say that he's been doing a good job. But tonight, we're not going to speak about his stewardship. We're going to speak about their stewardship. The Barbados Labour Party's stewardship. Because really and true fact, that's what he has to talk about. He can't talk about his own. So again, he says we are not capable of making reasonable judgments. So I say to you, when they talk about we get on political platforms or we get on radio, I want you all to listen carefully, because this election, for me, it is not about fancy talk and dressing up. I want to educate you. I want you all to open your eyes, as I keep saying. Every time it has gotten on this platform, I have said, open your eyes, open your head, and listen to what they're saying, and even not saying. And I can show you and prove it to you tonight. So they say that we get on political platforms or on radio and make statements for partisan capital out of the brown water situation in the north of the island. Now tell me, how can we be making partisan capital of something that is causing all people to be suffering? Partisan capital is when you want to have, when you're gaining something. What would I be gaining from by having the water tested? Rather than gaining, I spent the money to have the water tested. Alvin Toppin did it before me. What would it be gain? What would we gain for something that you have been experienced for a long time? And we did admit, No doubt, history has shown that this brown water was on for a very long time. It was. But the point of the matter is, it was not but what it was for a very long time, is what it is today. So you get in 2018, you knew about the problem from before, and you had 4+ years, started nothing. And then you had another mandate again, come back and do nothing. But yet still, when I come on the scene, when Alvin came on the scene, God rest his soul, and we spoke about this brown water, and you were saying that we are gaining something from it. What have we gained? All I can tell you, there can't be partisan capital. I can tell you this. I feel proud to know that I have gained something. I have gained the fact that I know and let my people know that this water is contaminated. He did not do that. And I can tell you this. If he had done that, he would have been able to tell his boss, lady boss, something ain't right here. This water ain't good. And I can tell you this, it ain't good because I had it tested. Why didn't he get it tested? And now, as Carolyn said before, has he proven it different? Y'all see it out there on social media. It wasn't my results. It was the government analytical lab, not my results. I followed every instruction. Did 2 tests, one up here in Phillips and one down on the west side. So why didn't he have the time to do that? Why did he take his time out his quote-unquote busy schedule? I only did it last year. I did it last year in the midst of the amount of business funerals that I was doing. I think last year, did he have a job last year? What was his job last year? Pardon me? That ain't true, he had a job. He was the minister of funerals. So when he can tell you that there was a partisan capital, that's an insult. That's an insult to you, the people of St. Lucie. Oh, you ain't gained nothing from it. What you gained from that was a knowledge to protect you. It was a health issue. It wasn't politics. It was health. And that is why I did it. One of the first things that we had to do, and I spoke to Alvin about this, is to let the people know what is in that water. And they talk about the things that they have done. But what they have done, they have still not addressed the source of this water. Why haven't they gone down like Alvin went down to Allendale when the filter system blew off? Why didn't he go down there? You can see it for yourself. Just go and type in Alvin Toppin on Facebook and you will bring it up. Why didn't he go down there? Why didn't he tell his boss there, the boss, I went down there and this thing ain't right? Huh? Why didn't he do it? And then you can talk about partisan capital. Maybe if he had done it, I wouldn't be here because he would have gained something. He would have gained some sort of points. But he doesn't know about gaining anything. The only thing he can know about gaining is a nice, decent, you can fit in the rest. So that's what they want to convince you. So they're going to want to tell you, but like Barbarians should know by now what's causing the water problem. And this is another thing. Imagine it's another insult. What is being done, and they know what is being done to fix it. Government spokesperson came out and talked about it, including the representative when he got in Parliament and said he wants an apology, one that he hasn't gotten as yet. And they're telling you in the letter to you, I don't know how many of you received this letter, but you can go online and see it. I don't know if it came from him or one of his supporters who's trying to defend him. But this is another one. He spoke about this water problem that we had and saying that we are speaking about it as what? Listen to this word. On this ad nauseum. Imagine that. Ad nauseum. Ad nauseum. I don't know if I've got any Latin people in here because when I went to CP, Latin had just finished. Somebody had to write that for him. But for some person that lives in St. Lucie to think that this water problem, and we are talking about it, and making it some sort of issue. Imagine, ad nauseum. Ad nauseum is when you talk about something so much that pretty and true fact, it is nothing to talk about. That is nothing. How can you tell me that you get up in the morning, bathe in brown water, go to drink brown water, go to sleep at night with brown water, and you can tell me that you get the feeling that ain't nothing? And that is what they can tell you in a letter. Huh? A letter to the resident, you the residents. Another insult. That is what that's from one insult to the next insult. And then on top of that, they can come and tell you that the water is not so brown. The water is not so brown, at least. But that didn't come from him. But if it was not so brown, wouldn't he tell his boss lady, don't at Checker Hall on the 21st, have a drink. You sound thirsty. You look thirsty. Have a drink. Why didn't he do that? If the water is safe, if it is not as brown. I tell you all, this election, especially for St. Lucie, is very emotional for me because we have taken far too long neglect, disrespect. And he lives in St. Lucie, short up there. And he ain't come to the bridge yet. Short up there. He has to traverse in St. Lucie. He knows the problems, but yet still, he can send a letter out or support a letter going out to you, the residents, to tell you, don't mind the water. That's what he's telling you by ad nauseum. We talk about this too much times. But we can't talk about it until every resident in St. Lucie is compensated for the suffering of that problem we had with the brown water for so many years. That is what he should have been doing. Looking out for you, the people of St. Lucie. But come February the 11th, 6 a.m., we will show him that we've had enough. And you will vote in a representative in me, Ian Richard Griffith, that will get up and do something for you and not sitting on his laurels and just attend funerals. I don't even think I might got enough time to attend funerals then. But anyway, the other night, I just want to add this other thing to how we have an arrogant set of people. An arrogant set of people. I don't know if y'all can feel the arrogance. From the time this election was called, everybody keeps saying, oh, don't mind them. They can get another 30 love. You know, everybody keep telling me, I hope you're ready for to be opposition leader. All right, I take all that. That's the arrogance. That's the arrogance of the people that run this country. That they believe that they can do anything and get away with it. That they believe that whatever they say is gospel. But yet still, the steps that they are taking now, the steps that they are taking on, the money that they are spending, if you had such an easy time for a 30 love, what happened that you got to spend all this money? What happened that you got to get somebody to open digital books? If I had a phone book here, my number was never in a digital book. Any of you got a digital phone book? Anybody got a digital phone book? So how can somebody from the Barbados Labour Party be calling your cell phone to ask you for their vote? How? That is the level of arrogance and disrespect for you, the people of Barbados. Lack of integrity. That is what they mean. They bring to you out begging you for another mandate. But I keep telling you all, no way. As Sammy said it there, down in Crab Hill. What Sammy said again, somebody can tell me what Sammy said? He gotta go. And he has to go. And he will go on February 11th. So let me go back here now to what he's talking about in this letter for the stewardship that he had done. Roads, buses, transportation. I had a young lady in Allendale told me she spent $23.50 to get home after 7 o'clock. After 7 o'clock. In my letter to Peter, dear Peter, why would one of my residents in Allendale have to spend $23.50 just to get from Bridgetown to Spikestown and then have to take a taxi for $20? Why? Dear Peter, tell me, why would that have to be when the people of Oxford has to walk up the hill late hours? Why the people in Rockfield can't get home by a bus but have to walk through darkness? Why he didn't put that in his letter to the residents? He didn't do it, but the letter that can send back to him, I don't even think I have to send it anymore because, great and true fact, you will send him the message come February 11th. you have people paying transportation like that. You know it's $23.50 in one night. Imagine doing that for 3 nights. And all she did is rent class. Add it up. And then they can tell me about cost of living. That the cost of living, the cost of living is nothing. How can the cost of living is nothing? Means nothing to people of Barbados. And let me tell you, I have said it before, the cost of living for people of St. Lucie is double. It's double. And those are reasons why it's double. Because sometimes we have to take a taxi. And soon from now, you will have to take an Uber, because if we let them go on February 11th and the transport board is sold, we will have to take taxi from Pike Corner to Spikestown. Are you going to allow that to happen? Do you want to take an Uber? Uber is when you go overseas. Why should we have you taking a taxi from Pike Corner to Spikestown, or from Josie Hill to Spikestown, or from Cave Hill or Rockfield? Why? You cannot let that happen. And this Democratic Labour Party will see to it that this transport board remains in the hands of a government who will seek to bring proper routing so that people can get transportation for their children to get to work. This is what this Democratic Labour Party will do for the people of St. Lucie. Because, as I keep saying, we ain't stupid in St. Lucie. And I'm tired of hearing people tell me we behind God back. And I want to tell all those persons, Corey, down here far. Don't think that down here far, because when I go to Germany to St. Philip, we just feel it very far. Don't worry. But we go east, you come north, and we can live good. All of us can live, because you know why? This is Barbados, and we are one love here in Barbados. And we can keep it that way, community after community. So I want to go again. You got people sending you a letter telling you that what they have done. Sending you a letter that they're going to do something. Blaming the Democratic Labour Party for the problems with the water. But this isn't about blame. I ain't pointing the finger at the representative. I ain't pointing the finger at the government. It's not about blame. Yes, we know the brown water. I said it before. I watched an official of the Barbados Water Authority down Half Moon Fort open a hydrant from like 9 o'clock. And it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I asked him, this water ain't gonna clear up yet. And that was about 15 years ago. Longer than they were in power. Yes, we were in power then. So the water in a secret, it was there. But we are not talking about who blame or who caused what. We talk what you're doing now. And I can remind you that when in 2017, when we had the desalination plant already commissioned to be built by one of our local good companies here in Barbados, sign off. When they came into power in 2018, I didn't know, they probably didn't like the contractor or who was the person who had signed off on it. But in 2018, they refused and scrapped it. A $6 million water a day. 6 million gallons, sorry. You imagine that? 6 million gallons of water. I don't even drink 6 glasses of water a day. 6 million gallons of water to supply to St. Lucie, but could have also supplied parts of St. Peter. If we had done that, Jason probably wouldn't be able to speak about the water problem in St. Peter. Some parts of St. Andrew, they would have been smiling. But they refuse. And now they can come and tell you that they have been doing something with the problem and then going back to the blame thing, that we were causing it. We were the cause of it, but they're fixing it. And they're going to fix it now by putting a little mini desalination plant. But they ain't going to tell you how much gallons of water per day you're going to get from that plant. Why they didn't tell you that when they launched a manifesto? Why they didn't tell you that? Why they didn't tell you that? Why did the fella that was the he still is, he not yet, he ain't lose the job yet. Why didn't he come to you instead of talking my name on every platform? You can imagine we had a meeting in Allendale. The audacity. We had a meeting in Allendale. They passed cross. I went on a platform in Crab Hill. and say they saw me out there on a platform in Allendale. Not a big platform, there's a small platform in Allendale. And say the Undertaker that he out there talking to the dead. You can imagine the audacity and the insult to call the people of Allendale dead. That is the respect that they have for you, the people of St. Lucie. They didn't say, but he didn't have the body at the meeting. They didn't say, well, yeah, he had a small crowd. I have been in this business all my life. I have trained people locally and overseas, regionally. And one thing that I stand for, do not disrespect my profession. Don't use my profession on a platform for political gain and make sport. One of the fellas tell me he didn't know that I was an engineer. He thought I was just an undertaker because I talk about a bridge. You think that people in Little Bay are engineers or Cove Bay? You call them dumb because they tell you that a bridge built foolishly? When you have to take a wise man to tell you that the border come through that bridge pushing somewhere else? How, it take a wise man. A blind man with a cane will walk under that bridge and tap, tap, tap and say, wait, this ain't going the way it should go. But you can tell people that I stand up in Allendale and I talk to the dead. But come February 11th, we can see who I'm talking to. I tell you that this election for St. Lucie is meaningful to me. It's meaningful to me. Tell the people, I can continue my letter. Dear Peter, why you ain't tell the people of Josie Hill that at the end of the most beautiful view in Josie Hill, why you ain't pave the road, why you stop at the Salvation Army Road, dear Peter? Why? Why you stop there? Why you went down? Why you had to tell the people in Free Hill, in Josie Hill, who told you that they already sent in letters to the MTW to ask, request to have this road paved, and you can look at them and tell them, why I will go and do the same thing? Why, Peter? Tell me, dear Peter, why? Why you didn't put that in your letter that you say sorry? Yeah, I want to tell you sorry. But that's my letter to you. And you, the people of St. Lucie, you're going to finish this letter by telling them, you got to go, Peter, because you ain't good enough. We got to look at this election serious. You have heard our leader, Ralph Thorne, talk about so many things. I try not to get into big national issues because I done tell Ralph already. St. Lucie is where I'm from, and St. Lucie is who I represent. And I starting here first because my first job is to you, the people of St. Lucie. When I walk up those steps of Parliament, when I walk at our steps of Parliament, my job is to you who put me there. When I go into that House of Parliament, I don't go in there to hold a seat to look at the camera and smile and say hee hee. I'm here to do your will, do your bid, and be your guide. That is what I'm going up there for. This is serious. You got 29 other candidates. Why it is that only leader can be so serious on their side? You know why? Because none of them can do nothing without her. None of them can do nothing properly without her. Every big gathering, go back. You want to do it? Go back to every big gathering clip. And you will see all them say, well, as the Prime Minister said, as the boss said, huh? I cut my staff and he call him by name when they're going to talk. We don't talk that way. We talk as a team. And that is what this Democrat Labour Party is about, teamwork. Teamwork. You were here, Corey, he said it tonight. This is about teamwork. And when we have a job to do, we don't have to go and say, Mr. Thorne, I would like to do so and so. Further less, Mr. Thorne, look at us and tell me, come, I want to see what you're doing. This is what this is going to be about. This Democratic Labour Party is about production. It's about integrity. It's about progress to the people of Barbados. Not just one set or clique, not friends, but to everybody, whether you're B or D, we are bringing progress to you in every community. Not just St. Lucie, St. Philip, St. Joseph to St. James, all of town. All of town, no gimmicks. No gimmicks. When we reduce the VAT by 2.5%, that they say they can't produce. It ain't gonna be like getting you $300 that you gotta line up around the post office to get, and by the time you get back to Jordan's, it's gone. You know it's 2.5% reduction in VAT. You know how much money you can save? Huh? You know how much money you can save, dear Peter? Tell me, Peter, do you understand how much money you can save? He don't understand how much money you can save. Look at the gas you can save. Look at the amount of groceries you can save. And we ain't done there yet. I can tell you the list of things that this party is going to do soon from now. But I still got to get back to some of the things that this gentleman says that he has done. And telling me about your stewardship. I want you to write the letter to the people in Clinkits. Why you don't write the letter to the people in Clinkits before you can turn up Clinkits? Why you ain't write the people in Sherman's who have to go through a little warm way? Get at the Salvation Army and talk about the coastal zone management project should start in November. And if not November, it should start by February. I don't know which February he meant, but as I told him, as I know, again, I just do homework. I just do homework. You know what school I went to? Midley Cox Primary. And then I went to the Beacon on the Hill, and we had to do homework. For those who don't know what the Beacon on the Hill, we now start amalgamation with Coleridge and Parry, and we are taught to do our work. Like Corey tell them, we tell them, read the bill. We just read the bills. When they bring bills, how many bills they had to go back and change again? Because the leader wanted it done. And now we facing a whole heap of problems with this list. Because the leader wanted it done. Because she wanted to get an election quite quickly. And we got youth, young people, energetic to come out there and vote. We have to trick 20 or 30 of them to get them on a list. A list that is your democratic right to be on. But if you are giving the people time to do their work, the hard-working people at the EBC, if you have given that time, we won't be facing this problem that we're facing today, worrying about who are off the list. Up to today, a gentleman stopped me in Spikestown, stopped me, flagged me down. He don't understand why he's not on the list. All I could tell him, but I could only try. But getting back to the people of Clinkits, dear Peter, tell me why the people of Clinkits only got one road in, and you took up government in 2018. You didn't even know that I had some houses in Half Moon Fort. You didn't even know some of the people that vote you, that are loyal to you, behind us from the home. I could have walked you up through there, through the back. You didn't fall down the little cat road, but I would have still hold you up. To show you the houses up in there that link back to Clinkits. When Dallas Kelman had the plan, the only thing I was vexed with Dallas Kelman with is because he didn't finish that project as we had planned to have it done to link us right back there, Half Moon Fort, so that Clinkits people have another road in. So tell me, dear Peter, why you didn't tell the people that in your letter that you don't know why they never had another road and you want to tell me about stewardship? I can't have a stoop longer. People at Sherman, you don't even know what's going on. When I spoke to the people at the Coastal Zone Management had a plan some 15 years ago to put a boardwalk from Clinkits straight up to Spikestown, then to John Moore. And the only thing that holding it back is money. It's a bid, international bid. I don't know if they had him in that one of them meetings. Maybe he was locked up the room. Maybe there's a high level above his pay grade. But I wanted to tell him about the Salvation Army when he said a project can start now. I wanted to ask him when now. Your now or me now? Because I don't think he knows which now it is. Because it clearly ain't now. But we can hear what now it is on February 11th. Y'all think this election is about joke? I want the young people to know when they come out of their house and sit down on the block. I keep telling the young boys there in Broomfield and Checker Hall, you are bigger than this. You mean more than this. You could come with all the inducement wrapper in a red cloth. But we bigger than this in St. Lucie. We bigger than this. We produce intelligent people, sensitive people. And I hate to know when people come and try to make me feel that we ignorant. You know when people just call me to train people to get in this business? When I became a film director, My father worked from Mount Gay Plantation from 14 years old, and he resonated in me the value of hard work. And that is why I intend to resonate into the young people of St. Lucie. And this Democrat Labour Party will resonate to the young people of Barbados the value of hard work and production to bring back pride and industry and not keep accepting a handout for somebody to come and tell you, you can have it now, I can take it away tomorrow. Remember what I told at Josie Hill? Don't let your cocoa stick starve you, because that is what they're doing. They give you something in one hand today, and they're taking it back many times after. We had enough of that. I want you all to look and see what's happening in Barbados right now. There's a wave. There's a wave. There's a wave. What the color is? What the color is? That's right. And the yellow is the code. We ain't come out here to play. They thought we didn't ready. They thought we didn't ready. But I want Peter to know this is a walkover. So if you can't find something else to say about my job, after February 11th, write an application. I can tell the address. Earls from the Home Half Moon Fort St. Lucie. You can write the HR person, because I don't even know if you might qualify, because your past work experience will be very slight. You come with something and tell me you work, you want work, you know what's work. All y'all could do, 29 of them, hang up on somebody's shirt tail and talk about representation. When we look at housing across St. Lucie, once again, you could tell me why you didn't tell the people in Coconut Hall right next door here, why nobody in none of those houses, those rusty doors. Tell me, Peter, why you didn't put that in your letter to the residents to explain? Tell me. I want you to tell me why nobody in those houses, but don't tell me, because I write a letter for the people of St. Lucie. They want to know. The people of St. Lucie want to know why nobody is in those houses in Coconut Hall. Dear Peter, you can't tell nobody nothing, because you don't even know probably when the houses get put in Coconut Hall. Again, you're probably not at that meeting. But you could talk about stewardship. This Barbados Labour Party speaks a lot about stability, economic recovery, and global praise. But yet we ordinary people here, especially people of St. Lucie, look at how we living. Look at the roads we on. Huh? Life is any easier? You drive from Caveville down to Checker Hall. Tell me, has anything been easier? When you coming home, coming through 6 months to go up to Carleton, tell me if it's easier. Huh? A hard road to travel, that's right. And you can tell me you want a third term? You can't even finish too good. I want a third one. And there's a representative that says he cares about St. Lucie. We talk about care. Again, why? Why, Peter? Why you didn't tell us about the hospital that was going to decommission? Why you didn't tell us about the medical facility? Why some of us had to hear or read it on the news long time after the deal was done? They didn't invite you to the table. When the lease was signed to rent the place, they didn't invite you. You didn't good enough to have a seat at the table. And you call yourself a representative. You probably heard about it, like many of us. When you heard that the medical facility at Harrison's Point was rented, why you will come back and tell the people, why you will put that in your letter when you send it to the residents of St. Lucie? But this is the letter I tell you, tell the people why Harrison's Point was rented when at the heat of the time, COVID ain't done. The chief medical officer said it many times, COVID ain't gone away. And I can tell you all, when it comes to this respiratory problems, the CDC in North America will tell you they're similar. COVID ain't gone nowhere, respiratory issues ain't gone nowhere. So why you took a facility Why you took a facility if you're doing so well that was purposely built for respiratory conditions, and then you burden your hospital even though you can't get a polyclinic open 24 hours to handle such cases. But yet you can tell me that you care about the people of St. Lucie, that you care about the people of Barbados. And then you had to have a minister of health. What we pay a minister of health for? To speak about health issues. Me, I had to wait to get so bad that somebody put a camera to see people laying down on the ground. I can bet you nobody ever lay down on the ground at Harrison's Point. But we rent out Harrison's Point. And I would like to know how we rent it, if it's furnished or unfurnished. Because it had beds and equipment. That's my question. When you're renting a building, you either rent it furnished or unfurnished. I believe many of you who have homes do that, don't you? When you rent a home, somebody want home say, no, I got 2 beds. I got a fridge. Don't worry about it. And then you have to go and put your equipment in storage. But that's another matter. I just want this letter to Peter. Dear Peter, tell me why you and tell the people of St. Peter, St. Lucie and St. Peter too, as a matter of fact, because that hospital would represent the whole north. St. Peter and St. Andrew, why you didn't tell the people that it was going to be closed? The arrogance of these people. They don't consult you to tell you or ask you anything because they feel that they know it all. You ain't know nothing. You ain't know nothing. The thing we don't know nothing. But as I keep saying, we ain't ignorant. And come February 11th, 6 a.m. in the morning, you're going to walk up there, wherever your polling station is. Get it right before then. Ask a question. Get it right before Wednesday. Find out where your polling station is because you have a job to do. You have a job to do in St. Lucie. I am looking for extra pallbearers for St. Lucie. I am looking for extra pallbearers for Peter Phillips. And on February 11th, I want a full squad of yellow shirts. After February 11th, 6 p.m., we will complete the task. This is a sport. This election is emotional. I'm tired of seeing young boys on the block asking for something. In every election time you come around, you want to come and fill the minds of my young people. Fill the minds of young people with nonsense. Hold this. You're making Lucie a celebrity in the wrong way. We don't want all kind of people coming to St. Lucie just for 1 month. You can't come to St. Lucie. And I can tell every candidate that we have in the Democrat Labour Party, don't be a stranger from St. Lucie because we welcome all people from all over Barbados, even the Caribbean, internationally. Go to Animal Flower Cave and see how many people out there. This isn't a joke. You want to come and put nonsense in our young people's minds. To hold inducements for what? And then next 2 weeks or 3 weeks after, you don't come back. I got young fellas out there in Salmon's right to work on Archers. The young boys who went up there and carry up the sign up there on the rock, climb up on the rock. We got talent. And you can't use Archers just when you feel it for your convenience to bring everybody down from all parts of Barbados like you did on January 21st. Then you could have packed all those tour buses with water and share it out. You come down there with your lewd behavior and want to contaminate our little minds. And you call that caring for the people of St. Lucie. How you can care? How can you care for the people of St. Lucie? And you come down to wine and dine and get in your cars and buses and drive off. You know the saddest thing about a funeral? When the body down in the hole, what's happened with everybody else that has left them? That is how they think of you. That is what they did on January 21st. They left you in the hole for dead and went about their way. But you know what's going to happen? February 11th, Wednesday, St. Lucie will rise from the dead. We will rise from the dead, just like how the Democrat Labour Party has risen from the ashes when they thought that we could not rise again. They could talk and talk, but we have risen. And we have risen as a unit. We have risen as a unit. Strong, proud, and looking to do the work of you, the people of Barbados. I tell you, this is an emotional election. This isn't a joke. Tired of it. Tired to see what's happening. We got to do something with our youth. We got to bring them back. Every church. You want to go in the church and come with an entourage of people to take pictures and all that kind of thing to contaminate the house of the Lord. I can't say what you want to say now, but anyhow. So we ain't come here to just talk about the past and blame nobody. We live in now. And if you can't find the leadership, you couldn't find it back then. Tell me how you can find it now. You want to wake up Wednesday morning and talk about leadership? Every person that came in to St. Lucie, every one of them, when they go around canvas and they hear about all the ills, all the broken promises, not just the ordinary people, but to their own people. The things that this representative has failed people, the people that put him there, how disappointed they have been with him. The broken promises. Why he ain't tell the people on top side of the hill that they can't get their lands? Tell me that, Peter. Dear Peter, tell me. Write that in your letter. Tell the people on top side of the hill that you promised to put their lands and get their title deeds for their lands. People that vote you in strong in 2018. And you can look at them and say, well, none ain't come true yet. Tell them. You can only promise a few in Crab Hill jobs. Only a few in Crab Hill deserves jobs. Only a few. That's what you can tell Crab Hill. And every time you come around, 2 elections gone, 2018, you bring a road from Husbands to Crab Hill to North Stars. And then you come back again in 2021 to 22 and do another road. What's Crab Hill? Crab Hill's roads were election roads. And that is how you think about the people in Crab Hill. And you got your cronies coming around Crab Hill begging for votes. I piss in my pocket. You got all them roads. I went up there and see it for myself. Road got a dredge 8 inches now because last time Barbara Green went down on Marl. And he didn't even went and look at it for himself to see what's going on. Because you know what? What he thought was that, oh, the road nice and smooth now, so I can get the votes. And he got them. He got them. He got them again in 2022. Come back. Sit down. Know that the Barbados Water Authority was once again going to dig up the roads again. And all he could come and tell you, after 4 years, he was disgusted when he was the junior minister in the NTW and knew that the roads were going to dig up. I only come back last year and talk about he was disgusted. But you know why he was the junior minister? And why he couldn't make it as a minister? Because they had no confidence in him. He didn't know what to do. He showed no competence. None. That's why he was junior. That's why we affectionately call him Little PP. You can figure out the rest. You put a man in the Ministry of Transport. You can imagine you had a representative in Ministry of Transport works. And look at these roads. Look at KFL. Look at these roads. Go in town and tell me if you see these roads in Sandy Bradshaw's constituency. Tell me if you see the roads. How many times Bank Hall Road was paved? How many times the highway was paved? And you got a representative who can't even utter a squeak. He can't even utter a squeak. But if he was like, all right, he would either do damage. Because all right Knows how to do damage. All right, know how to confuse them, eat them out, and make them starve. Maybe you should take a clip of that. Get up in the House of Parliament and represent the people of St. Lucie who have put you there. That is the job you paid him for. And did nothing. And that is why he could only be a junior minister. And you want to write a letter to tell the people of St. Lucie that you have done this and that? Come again. But under this Democrat Labour Party, I am going to show this minister how it is done, because the team that I'm going to work with, we have laid out a plan. We have laid out a plan. And we are going to show these people how it is done. We are going to show them how it's done. Because they got to understand that this isn't about just putting on a show, fancy speeches and fancy clothes. This isn't about flying off in a jet while the people of Barbados suffering. Y'all don't even know that this representative fly all the way to China and all over about. I don't even know how, if you know how to pass the Chinese that fits in the road, if you know how to say good morning in Chinese. That's right, it's ni hao. But this isn't a joke thing. You got people walking around here trying to praise up, and it hurts me. It hurts me to the core in two ways. That we, some of us in St. Lucie, have to drive, have to do the water. We pass through Crab Hill. You look at North Stars, and it hurts me. How can you have a minister who experienced North Stars having regional cricket, and then you can come into power and can't even get lights for North Stars, but yet still you have all the high-enders in the Barbados Labour Party driving past North Stars, and not one of them can say, but this place should have lights by now. And they want your vote, and you're going to give them your vote? You can tell me the people of Crab Hill can't open their eyes and see? Huh? The people of Crab Hill can only see for what 1 day short term? North Stars should have had lights long time. But under this Democratic Labour Party, under my stewardship as the minister represented this good part of St. Lucie, North Stars will become the mecca of cricket again in the north. Must happen. And they got a good team there ready to work. I go on to what North Stars when they launch it next. And if I move right, he move right. If I move left, he move left. He the worst time I shot it out there. To get a good picture by myself, I had to shift way twice or 3 times before you can know that I move. But I can that's right. But under this Democratic Labour Party, we're going to ensure this team, this Democratic Labour Party, we will ensure that you have more money in your pocket. I will be at the table. We started it. All 30 of us sat together. 2.5% reduction in VAT. That will ease your pocket, put more money in your pocket. This is what St. Lucie needs, dear Peter. Tell them. You can tell them because they invite you to the table. But we 30 people that you are going to put into power come February 11th, Wednesday, when you put this Democratic Labour Party in power, we will sit at the table and we will bring these plans to fruition because you, the people of Barbados, deserve it. Because you've had enough. You've had enough. And they know. They don't like when they see yellow. Because they know that when we yellow come out, red scatter. You know what he say? When big rocks roll, eggshells scatter. It's so unfortunate that we're coming close to Easter, so you know how the eggs gonna be. They got red eggs out there. But those red eggs, they will shatter on February 11th. Not only should we reduce the 2.5% VAT, but we are going to ensure that you have tax-free pensions, tax-free on overdue time at work, because we need it, and we need our young people getting back to work. We need it. The Transport Board, not under this Democrat-Labour Party, it ain't getting privatized, because we see it as our social responsibility to ensure the people of Cave Hill and Pike Corner and Josie Hill have adequate transportation, and we are going to redesign these routes. Because I said it in myself, when I sat with the good people of Allendale, I sat with them. They weren't dead. They were listening quite clearly. And I don't want to talk to the dead. I know what a dead man look like. And when I sat with the lively people of Allendale, and I sat and I wonder why we can't get a bus going up the hill to Oxford, go through Churchill, go up, make a right, come down Oxford, and come back to Allendale and make a loop. It's a rocket science. Why we can't have that and continue back the St. Lucie Church bus? Why you advertising buses leaving Spikestown or town every hour, but then you can get an operator tell you, I ain't sure if you can get that one, or a driver telling you that he ain't ready to move yet? What kind of management we got there under this Democrat-Labour Party? Those days will be done. We must have transportation for our elderly, our school children. No Uber ain't coming up in St. Lucie. We don't need it. Homeowners, zero rated VAT on materials for homes under 250,000. It hurts me. It hurts me to walk around. I don't want to talk about the people's business because it's private. But it hurts me to see we have homes. It hurts me, Peter, because I feel that you see some of these homes, and it hurts me. I don't know about you. To see the people who want home repairs and can't do it because they don't have the money in their pockets. And some of these homes have fallen into that criteria, under $250,000. Those persons will be able to get zero rated on materials. For new homeowners, you want to build your house, you can build your house. But you can have a little help to build it. This is what this Democrat-Labour Party want to do. We care about the people of Barbados. No gimmicks. We ain't giving you a one hand and taking it back in your necks. We had a $300 experience like that before. That ain't happening anymore. A 5-year land lease holiday. 5-year on first-time buyers. When you get a piece of land. 5 years tax holiday. That can go a long way. Add those all together. 2.5% VAT. You get a piece of land. You want to build your house. 5 years tax holiday. That is what we intend to do. In agriculture, I've spoken about it before. When we speak to the farmers got a lot of issues going on. And one of the biggest issues is market. I went to Suriname, and I was so amazed that Suriname has such land space. We don't have that. Suriname have so much land that they grow so much crops, but they don't really have the market to come here. And yet still we got so much import bill in our food. But we have young farmers. I got a farmer there in Hope Road. Young. If I look at him and say, but I don't think you're the farming, I say, but you know, I fool you now. And he's one of the biggest farmers in Hope Road. We got farmers that can produce food for Barbadians. And under this Democrat-Labour Party, 50% of those foods from local farmers will be provided to government institutions. It's going to be a must, a mandatory. All government institutions, you can take your food from our local farmers. They will have a market. And we will ensure that across Barbados, you have centers that we can have food sales. Bring your produce. We're not just going to have to go in town at the big market in town. We're going to have centers that there will be a market. And we'll put a drive that you Barbadians will be educated that home drum beats first. Not discredit to Master in those places. But we got enough food that we could grow here in Barbados instead of throwing it away. Farmers must live. Fishing. We have a plan for that too. But agriculture is going to be so important because we have to reduce our import bill. A 50% debt write-off for all active producers to restart their production. These are the things that we have in place. These are the gimmicks. So when they thought that they borrowed a manifesto from somewhere else, and then they came and thought about their leak a manifesto, you know, sometimes it's got to put a bait for somebody. We were glad that they leaked the manifesto because it showed what Barbados really wanted to see. Match the two, people, and see. One is real, one is gimmick. This is no joke. And when it comes to you, the people of St. Lucie, you have a representative in me, Ian Griffith, that I tell you, when I sit at the table with my team, we will ensure that St. Lucie gains the respect. We will bring back integrity, inclusivity to governance in Barbados. This is what this Democrat Labour Party will do under the leadership of Ralph Anthony Thorne. We're going to do that because this election is important to us. So don't let us be fooled by the gimmicks. Open your eyes. Open your mind. Loyalty begins at home. I said it over and over. And I want y'all, when y'all leave here tonight, remember, loyalty begins at home. Your family, your children, your grandchildren. Loyalty begins there. Then loyalty to your community. Not loyalty to people that you only see once a year or when it matters. So tonight, moving on, we got 2 more days until 6 a.m. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Yellow is the code, and we are going to remove these arrogant people from governance in Barbados. Ladies and gentlemen, good night.
Like to wiggle my nose and say let there be pipe. It takes time for them to lay pipe. Mom, like she think we stupid or we bewitched. So this time we gon' switch. Phillips got VVEX, VVEX, VVEX. Cannot get VX, VX, VX. Phillips got VVEX, VVEX, VVEX. Cannot get VX, VX, VX. We gon' shift to breath, 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 we gon' shift. 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 Shift, 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 shift. To breath, we gon' shift. To breath, we gon' shift. To breath, we gon' shift.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting into the night, and before it go, we're going to bring to you Ramon Goodman, who's running for St. Andrew, to say a few words for us. And, you know, we all wished him good luck down there in St. Andrew. Ramon?
Sits and moving, one day I'll play. Sits and moving, sits and moving, sits and moving, sits and moving, one day I'll play. Sits and moving, sits and moving. Yellow is the code, determination in mode. Young guns rise up, we carrying below. Future in we hands, Barbados we see. Sits and moving, jump on the DLP. Sits and moving, there with tits and moving.
Good night to the people of St. Lucie. How we feeling tonight, man? Yeah. Listen, after that meeting in St. John, let me tell you, we are energized. We ready. Well, you know what? I don't even want to use the word ready. We are prepared. We are prepared of what is going to happen next. We will be walking up the steps of Parliament, people. Ian Griffith, our guy, no doubt about it. I am loving the energy that I'm feeling, man. No doubt about it. Now, one of my slogans when I am in the North, I always say this. The North needs the D's. The North needs the D's. Too long, the North has been neglected. People, do you feel neglected? Do you feel as though you're not a part of Barbados? Not good enough. We have to do something about it, people. Now, I can relate to some of the things, or most of the things, that Ian is talking about in regards to the outgoing representative in the St. Andrew constituency, or, well, their representative, the outgoing representative. He is null and void. He's mute as well. He says nothing. And I'm going to tell you something now. Ian knows about the dead. He knows that the vision of Charles Griffith is dead, peoples, within St. Lucie. And I want each and every one of the constituents of St. Lucie. I want no fear. I want that on the 11th of February, we get up there, we vote, and we vote some more. Before you vote or before you go to the polls, I want you to think about the neglect. I want you to think about the bad roads. I want you to think about the community centers that have been closed down. I want you to think about the clubs that aren't as active as they once were. North Stars. I remember North Stars was a constant hive of activity. It is not the same. People, I want you to continue to think. I want you to continue to get up there and not be afraid to vote. Not be afraid to place that X. Not be afraid to sound your voice with that X. We need to get out there. We need not be afraid. Now, I know that the courage is needed. I know that a lot of you feel afraid to get out there. And I want you to know that the Democratic Labour Party will continue to be energized. The Democratic Labour Party will continue to stand alone. The Democratic Labour Party will continue to stand with you. Do not ever be afraid. In regards to Mr. Ian Griffith, I want you guys to know I met Ian Griffith, obviously along the trail, and Ian is extremely meticulous. Ian is always willing to help. I asked Ian last minute to come to one of my meetings and speak, and let me tell you something. He had the whole of Isolation Road in an uproar, because that is the type of representation you need. Someone who is not afraid to stand alone and keep noise. Someone who is not afraid to come out there and say, you know what, enough is enough. I need to represent the people. Ian, as you know, is a sports person. Ian will bring back sports in a serious way in the constituency. Ian, he would have talked about being a part of the football team. He's a sports person. He's energetic. He knows how to get sports back into the community. And the reality of it is that the young people, they're energetic. They want to be indulging in sports. They want to do something with their lives. I've spoken to many young people, and you know what? The reality of it is that we have a notion sometimes that the young people, they're not ambitious. The young people, they don't want to do anything with their lives. But I have spoken to many young people, and they just need that opportunity. Ian will do so, as he's connected to many clubs within the constituency. Football, whether it be football, cricket, we need the young people energized and being active within the community. Now, there's no excuse for crime and violence. However, idle hands, you know how idle hands can become extremely mischief. Continue to keep the young people engaged. Continue to keep the young people within the community. Now, I believe strongly that community involvement is important. How about community centers? Keep the community centers going. Keep the community centers active, and the young people will continue to be engaged. Now, I've also spoken to Ian in regards to the older demographic. They also need activity. Keep the community centers open so that those older people can go ahead and they can socialize. They can play little cards. They can play little dominoes. That is needed within the constituency, as the St. Lucie constituency, as is rule. They are extremely community-based. So, peoples, as a community-based society, we need to build from within the community outward. Now, Ian would have mentioned that he's the type of man that he doesn't play around. He talks facts. He will continue to be loud. Where all the challenges and so forth in the community is concerned, Ian is your guy. We had some meetings where the candidates were concerned, and Ian would always be the person to challenge the status quo. He would go against the grain. If the person who was obviously hosting the meeting would have said something out of turn, Ian would say, you know what? No, this is not right. I need this sorted. Ian will always challenge the status quo. Ian is your man. I want you guys to place your X next to Ian Griffith. Next to Ian Griffith. Because I'm telling you guys something now. If you think that not placing your X is going to punish Charles Griffith, you got something else coming. Because placing your X, placing that X will say, you know what? We need a change. Because if you don't place that X, if you stand home, you are automatically and by default, you are automatically and default voting for Charles Griffith. So tonight, people of St. Lucie, I want you on the 11th of February, please, I implore you, vote Ian Griffith. The North needs the D's. The North needs the D's. To the people of the St. Lucie constituency, I truly love you unconditionally. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ramon. And we have to come out and do what? Vote, vote, vote. You see, this election is an important election. We're not just coming to win, but we want to win every box in St. Lucie. We want to win the LA boxes. We want to win the LB boxes, the LC boxes, the LD boxes, and the LE boxes. We're coming to win every box in St. Lucie because St. Lucie fed up. Right? Right, St. Lucie fed up. We can't stand for this anymore. So this time we're going to invite to the stage a lady who is passionate about St. Lucie. She loves St. Lucie. She believes in St. Lucie, and she supports St. Lucie. She's a former president of this party. I'd like you to put your hands together and welcome Miss Verla Depeiza to the stage.
they'll be scrambling, cause they know they have not done very well. Yeah, the bees hustling, the bees boasting, yeah. But the cost of living got me catching hell. Yeah, they're trying to patch the patches in the roads and delivering plenty lies by the loads. They now promising beach access when all along it was causing us stress. We don't want the bees no more. We don't want the bees no more. It's buzzing bees no more. It's buzzing bees no more.
Good night, Pike Corner. It's always good when you're home, huh? Yes. And it doesn't matter, St. Lucie will always be home to me. And that is not idle speech. Every Sunday I'm in Northumberland. That will remain home for me. And the reason why, apart from the fact that both sides of my family have roots in St. Lucie, is because for me personally, never mind that family connection, for me personally, growing up between St. James and St. Lucie, my greatest freedom and exploration was in St. Lucie. Yes, my grandfather got us up at 5:30 to carry out sheep and cows. But once they were out, the rest of the time was ours until it was time to bring them back in. And boy, did we roam St. Lucie. We weren't supposed to go on the cliff, but I have a scar that will remind me forever why you should obey. Because we were on the cliff plain. But that is really the essence of St. Lucie. That you get still to be yourself. It is not as tilted as growing up in the heights and terraces. You still have that freedom to feel community. That villagey feeling is important, I think, in the life of a child. It certainly left a big impact and impression on me. And so anything that I can do to make St. Lucie better, I am up for it. When I said in 2022 that I was not running again, my good friend Alvin Toppin stepped into the breach. Man can plan, but God's will be done. But what that entire episode has taught us is the depth of personality that St. Lucie has to offer. Because Alvin passed just a few short months ago. Just a few short months ago. And Ian, Richard Griffith, stepped up. Alvin was his friend too. Stepped up, filled those shoes, made them his own, and has grown exponentially in this campaign. The reason that he could do that is because, like me, like Alvin, representing St. Lucie is coming from his heart. And so I have no difficulty night after night, up and down St. Lucie, speaking on behalf of Ian Richard Griffith in full confidence that he will bring proper representation back to St. Lucie. Imagine that in 7.5 years of the St. Lucie people crying out for water under this administration, there never once was a moment when your outgoing representative thought, let me get this water tested on behalf of the people of St. Lucie. But Ian came in, Ian got the water tested, and he has shared the results. I see them online saying, oh, it could never be true. It could never be true. But fortunately, Ian didn't go and test it in a backyard. He didn't go and buy some litmus paper from UE if they sell it and do it himself. He went to the government analysis unit. He got them to do it. So they can't poo-poo the results, pardon the expression. It comes from them. But on your behalf, without you already placing an X, Ian stood up for the people of St. Lucie. And that is why I am confident that on the 11th of February, you will stand up for him in your lines, at your polling stations, to mark that X. He stood up for you, and you will stand up for him, because you deserve proper representation, and you can see already that he is committed to the task. And I want them to come to St. Lucie and tell you something bad about Ian. I want them to do it. I challenge them to come to St. Lucie and tell you something bad about Ian. You know why? Because they got at we gathering and gave Ian an award. They said he was wonderful. They said that he was a community leader. They said that he was worthy of accolades and praise. They didn't know then what was coming down the pipeline, but they said he was worthy of it. So they can't come now and tell you otherwise. That is the highest praise from the other side, that he is the one that you should count on as your next representative. Take them at their word. They have endorsed Ian Richard Griffith, and you should follow their lead and endorse Ian Richard Griffith by giving him your X on the 11th of February. And don't mind all that talk about his very people. That is actually a plus. When you are at your lowest, when you have lost your loved ones, you know that you can rely on Ian. So you know that in your rough moments, he is the one that you can rely on. Let them talk. Let them talk. Ian say he want pallbearers, but for sure we burying them in St. Lucie in this next election. And we got plenty graveyards to choose from. We even got an area called Graveyard. We know what we are going to do in St. Lucie. And kudos to Ian too for joining a young and dynamic team in the Democratic Labour Party. We're not going to hide that we had our troubles. But those of you who are in agriculture will know sometimes you have to prune in order for the plant to bloom. And in short order, our current leader, Ralph Thorne, has whipped this party into shape, got everybody doing their task, and has the other side in an uproar. The beehive has been hit and disturbed, and they're fluttering because they thought they were catching us unawares. But we were ready for them. They were not ready for themselves, because how you mean you call an election and the voters list isn't ready? What do you mean? And you're not even trying to fix it neither. You're daring people to go to court. That is arrogance. That is arrogance. And it is time that we put arrogance out of office. It has no place. We are the servants of the people. And the minute we forget about it, it is the people who have to remind us by the way that they place their X. And I find it odd. In 2018, you gave them 5 years. They took 3.5 of them and threw the rest back at you. And you gave them some grace. You gave them another 5 years. And they've come shortchanging you again and throw it back at you again. You going to send it back at them? Or you going to hold the ball? You're going to hold the ball because they obviously don't want it. They don't want it. They keep sending it back. And so they pelt everything except the kitchen sink at you that they could have done in a budget. That they could have done in a budget that is due in March next month. The estimates exercise already ongoing, but they call an election. Ask them what it is that is coming down the pipeline that they want to avoid. But let me tell you one of the things, because I read their manifesto and I noticed BERT 3.0 mentioned a couple of times, but not a single moment have they spent in that manifesto explaining what BERT 3.0 is and what it means for you. So I can't tell you what BERT 3.0 means. I just can tell you that it is coming. I want to ask you a question. Did you enjoy BERT 1.0? Did you enjoy BERT 2.0? It visited pain and cost of living rises and cash flow problems in your household, and you can't meet your budget, and you're going to the supermarket and you're weighing up things and you're trying to decide what you're going to buy this week and what you have to put back. You think BERT 3.0 will be any different? But they're not telling you what is coming down the pipeline. Ask them what BERT 3.0 really means. And then they look at us and tell us that we can't reduce the VAT. When we can feel the pain, because we're feeling it too, we're running households too. We can feel that the country cannot bear any more pain. And that you have to have an ease where you give businesses an ease twice. Because they got one for COVID too. You gave businesses an ease and you can't give a poor man an ease. And you begrudge them 2.5%. Tomorrow, you telling them that they have to wait till the next income tax cycle to get back an income tax return? You think that is fair? You need the ease now. You don't need it in the next cycle. And that is the difference. And the thing is that really, I got to scratch my head continually. They had it in both manifestos in 2018 and 2022 that they were going to reduce VAT. And they didn't do it. And now we say we can do it. They say it can't happen. The only interpretation I can have is that they never intended to do it. They never intended to do it. But it is a promise, a covenant, a contract with you. I am not making up those words. I am taking those words out of the manifesto of the Democratic Labour Party. I see you with the flyer. We go on digital. There's a QR code in the back. And you will have access to the entire manifesto through that QR code right on the inside of the back page. We want you to be able to carry it with you when you're sitting on the bus, that you can leaf through it. When you have a downtime, you can leaf through it. You can sit and discuss it with your family members. And let me tell you, my mother, who's going to be 90 shortly, she has a cell phone and she has a QR code that she can download. everybody will have access to the Democratic Labour Party's manifesto because we have put it in your phones that constantly in your hand. We want you to have it. We understand because we feel the same pain. And there are a slew of programs within that manifesto that speak to how we can help you get by. Not giving you a handout. This is not about $300 just before an election. This is not about giving you for a one shot because you know $300 can't carry you too far in a supermarket. And when you spend it, it's gone. This is about continual savings. Good night. Continual savings because everything almost has VAT attached to it. So continual savings. Keep every time you go and buy something and you lift up the bill, you will be able to see that you spent less than you did last time. That is what you need to give you some wiggle room in your own budget. And that is the promise of the Democratic Labour Party. But your life is more than economics. Your life is more than cost of living. And our manifesto has a much more than that. And don't mind that they felt that they were leaking our manifesto down in Deacons. They could hold up our manifesto and leak that, but they can't leak how much money they spent on Carrie Fester. They can hold up our manifesto and say that they leaked that, but they can't tell you nothing about the money that came from Hope. We expect that there will need to be some consultations and some investigations because you need to know where your money has gone. You need to know how much was really spent flying about the world. You need to know what could have been spent on you and how that money can be diverted now to make your life better. Because that is why our motto is Bajan first. We have to be thinking about Barbados right now at a time when the world is looking and trying to fix their own selves. We have also to do the same. So there are programs for making sure that our social change happens. And this is important because one of our major issues outside of the cost of living is how we are literally living with the crime rate so high. We are living in a climate of fear. We on a daily open social media, open in newspapers, and somebody else's blood has been spilled in this country. Over 300 of our citizens have lost their lives to violence since this administration came to office in 2018. And they want to tell you that they have looked to tackle crime because they gave you more judges. That does not deal with crime. That deals with the justice system after crime has happened. What we need are policies that address and arrest people's feeling like they have to be involved in crime. That is what we need. That is how you build a nation, by allowing people to be productive citizens, even those who have made errors. And so, when you open the manifesto, you will see social provisioning. It is important. It is important. We need to fix our families. We need to fix our schools. We need to fix our communities. We need to do it in a systematic way, and we need to be consistent about it. So as we put these programs in place to make sure that our education system actually meets the needs of our people, we are doing that with the intention of using education to divert people away from a life of crime. And when we say education, we don't mean that in the way that we have been taught to think of education in a bookish sense. Education is anything that you learn from and learn to do that allows you to be productive. So just like how you can get a scholarship because you're good at maths, you should be able to get a scholarship because you are a good mechanic. And that is the direction that the Democratic Labour Party wishes to take education. That whatever your skill is, your striving for excellence is to be rewarded by the state. Because all of those skills are necessary in the building of a nation. And we need our young people to feel equally valued. It should not be that only those who know their way around inside the covers of a book should benefit. Those who know their ways inside of an engine, in plumbing, in air conditioning, in gardening, in farming, they also should be able to benefit from scholarships. And that is the change that we need in our education system, not changing the name from class to grade. Why they always looking to put gloss over something? You put lipstick on a pig, it's going to still oink. We need fundamental changes in our system. And the Democratic Labour Party's platform under the manifesto crafted under our leader Ralph Thorne is intended to make those fundamental changes. That is what you will be voting for when you go to the polls on the 11th of February. It's not just about bad roads. We know that you have bad roads. It is not just about brown water. Never mind they tell you that it's not as brown as it used to be. Not a man stood up down there on the playing field in Checker Hall and chugged down a bottle of that water. They need to put the water in their mouths and swallow and then tell you that you could drink it. And don't be insulting with it either, because that felt disrespectful. Disrespectful. And we say, Lucy people, we got more pride than that. We don't walk out and beg, but we will demand what is ours. I tell people that St. Lucie is the best constituency to canvass in. Every time you go canvassing, somebody giving you something and asking you for nothing. But that does not mean that you're to take the people of St. Lucie for granted. That is not what that means. And because you know your worth, because you know that you have been taken for granted, because you know that nothing but empty promises have come your way, I am 100% certain that on the 11th of February, you will put your trust and your faith in Ian Richard Griffith, because you have already seen what he can do on your behalf. And there's so much more. I don't know where to start with our health system. Once again, St. Lucie, the poor relation as far as this administration is concerned. I remember under another Barbados Labour Party administration, they shut down St. Joseph Hospital. I remember Evelyn Graves up and down Broad Street getting signatures to beg to keep it open on behalf of the people in the north. It failed. They closed it down. It went the way of the dinosaur. A lot of lessons were to be learned from COVID, and one surely was that we could do with another medical facility. And lo and behold, we got one. We got one. And it was state of the art and kitted out with ventilators and the right kinds of beds and all of the facilities. And it was fantastic. And COVID has passed, and so has the medical facility at Harrison Point. Why are you standing for the disrespect all the time? St. Lucie, it is time to stand up for yourselves. That should have been kept as a medical facility so that we would not have to see our people lying down on QEH floor for people to come and tell us that we can't see what we're seeing. Disrespecting us. How you mean? We know what people look like lying on the floor, and you come and say nobody was lying on the floor, and there was evidence of it. And I will say this for that lady who brought out that video. I know her well. I have never seen her post anything remotely party political. That was in the national interest. And to have her pilloried was disrespectful too. It is time that our country does not allow anybody, whether they're from here or they're from over there, to disrespect us. We have a moment in time on the 11th of February to show that we respect ourselves. And all across Barbados, we have an opportunity to speak up for ourselves. And it is my hope, my wish, and my ultimate belief that St. Lucie will lead that charge as we stand up for ourselves. And in Ian Richard Griffith, you place your confidence and your X next to his name to be your next representative starting from the 12th of February 2026. Because, every time you look around, there's some element of wonderment with this administration. One of the last pieces of legislation that went to Parliament in December was a bill that was passed that set up a fund to set aside $225 million. $225 million, $75,000 a year for 3 years to pay to companies, and listen to who qualifies. Companies that are not resident in Barbados, so not Barbados companies, to pay them to come here to set up business. $225 million. But then, Kerry Simmons could get on a platform and tell small businessmen in Barbados who have already performed duties and services on behalf of the government of Barbados that they could take a haircut. Stop it. Stop disrespecting the people of Barbados. We are intelligent, and we know when you're pulling wool over our eyes. How you mean you could set up a fund for overseas companies that don't even have a presence here yet, but the ones that are here gonna suck salt, and you trying to sell that as if it is a good thing? First of all, that is not factoring. That is not factoring. That is unfair in small people. Because the people who owe the money are the ones who should be taking the hit, not the people who are owed the money. And let me tell you, in fact, don't let me tell you, you tell yourself, what happened to your bonds in 2018 and 2019? They were reduced in value with one swipe of the pen by this administration, and you were getting cents in the dollar for government bonds. And now they want you to pay and get paid in government bonds and then take them to some other place in the hopes that these private financial institutions want to take up government bonds and take a haircut. And that is advice from a bald man. Stop it. Stop disrespecting the people of Barbados. But people of Barbados, you can stop the disrespect that is being visited on you. That is your one task on the 11th of February from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening. You tell them that you are done with the disrespect, that they have taken you for granted and you are taking them to the cleaners by marking your X consistently, morning till evening, on behalf of Ian Richard Griffith and the proposals of the Democratic Labour Party under our leader, Ralph Thorne. And this is the difference between the two. The Democratic Labour Party, in its passport, makes a founding principle that the policies of the party must redound to the benefit of the people of Barbados. And though times have changed and leaders and leadership has changed, the philosophy of the Democratic Labour Party remains the same. And that is why I, with boldness and confidence, can stand on platform night after night, preaching the gospel of the Democratic Labour Party, so that you can remember that even in rough times, when the money was scarce on the ground, the social engineering on your behalf continued. And you were told that the last administration was a lost decade. And you bought it. I am not blaming you, because it was our responsibility to tell you otherwise. But hear what? Hear what? The very architects that they said caused the lost decade are now deep in the bosom on the other side. The lost decade has been found and it is wearing red. But what that means for you, is that they sold you a falsehood. And I urge you to punish them for it on the 11th of February. This is too serious a business to be playing hanky-panky. This is your life and your business. And if they could do that to you once, they could do it to you again. Don't give them the opportunity. Vote them out on the 11th of February. Stand in line like you did last night in Gold Hill with the rain pouring. You put up your umbrellas and you kept your place in that space. Keep your place in line on the 11th of February, and don't move until you have marked your X for Ian Richard Griffith, for your family, for your community, for your country. We are depending on you, and you can depend on us. We have fixed ourselves, and we are ready to fix our country so that we can work on your behalf. Go out, do your part, and we will do ours once you have placed your confidence in us. I thank you.
The bees rambling, the bees scrambling, cause they know they have not done very well. Yeah, the bees hustling, the bees boasting, yeah, but the cost of living got me.
Ladies and gentlemen, just let us give Comrade Verla Depeiza another round of applause. It was an informative part of her contribution for us. Next, I'm going to bring for you one of our better ministers of tourism. He had fought hard for Barbados. He had made sure we had flights coming here, not only flights, but the harbor was full with tourist boats and things like that. And if you remember, it's one thing that hurt me when we first lost. He had completely made an arrangement for Cobra flights to come here. And you know that the night that I saw it on television, that's when I give up myself. I don't want to watch TV again. When Carrie Simmons was there receiving and pisperating like he knew about it. And everything was done by this Minister of Tourism for us on behalf of the Democratic Labour Party. You know, and those things hurt. Now we're back with a whole bunch of liars pretending and telling us a lot of things which they know isn't true. And they're even taking up some of the lost decades which they had. Comrade Verla referred to two of them, but you know those are two of the people who the Accounts Committee of Parliament met about. It's really hurtful. You really don't want to talk about it. And one of those same ministers had promised us a constituency branch meeting we had down here one time, that by the next week, roads will be done in St. Lucie. And now that flipping man is with those people. Those things hurt, and we believe the things, the lies that the Barbados Labour Party came and told us. We give them 10 years. Now they took 7.5, now they're asking us for more. We would really want to be kicking our backside if we could take up that. You know, obey them to give them another 5 years. Ladies and gentlemen, let's forget it. Let's just forget them. We're bringing a gentleman to you that only shows you who may fire a gentleman who's going to replace a lady who may fire twice. Not once, but twice. To show you how wicked that woman is. We're going to bring to you tonight Comrade Richard Seeley to give us his contribution to us. Ladies and gentlemen, just give him a round of applause.
Well, all right. Okay, Daddy Land. We voted for Richard. We can vote for Richard Seeley. I don't know about you, but one thing I know, Richard Seeley putting you first. So we voting for Richard. I don't know about you, but one thing I know, Richard Seeley putting you first. So we voting for Richard. Richard Seeley outside your window, Richard Seeley outside your door. Constituents crying for the MP, but she and I don't see she no more. Richard Seeley still here for you, so I wanna know what you gonna do. Bring your family and bring your crew. It's time for a change, no way long overdue. Richard Seeley, we voted for you. Show them what else you can do. Show them that you is the truth. The people need help, now we want a little boost. I don't know about you, but one thing I know, Richard Seeley putting you first. So we voting for Richard. I don't know about you, but one thing I know, Richard Seeley putting you first. So we voting for Richard.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Margot. It's a real pleasure to be here in St. Lucie. Don't mind this one. I'll just deal with one. I can handle one. Extra pleasure to be here. Like the St. Lucie branch in Ian, I had my whistle stopped today, hence my attire, and I came straight here. Of course, I had to ask someone to give me a ride. My driver from yesterday, because of the damage done in the pothole on the way to Gall Hill, I wasn't kidding. We had to put the vehicle in four-wheel drive to get out of that pothole. So I had Carolyn bring me down here today, and he unfortunately had to make a stop in Coconut Hall. And you know Coconut Hall before you swing to come off here. And it was well, you know me, this is my time, so I'm always canvassing. So the young lady there, I asked about the situation in St. Lucie politically. And they allowed me to know that Peter Phillips had sent some people there to speak to them. And I said, what did you say? They said, well, they wanted to know if Peter could get the vote. And she said to them, well, her water is still brown, so Peter's not getting her vote. And Ian is going to get her vote. And, you know, as simple as that story sounds, it reminds you of the old adage that, of course, all politics is local. And the truth is, when you consider the basic need that water is, you have all the reason to vote out Peter Phillips on that basis alone. Funny enough, I ran into a farmer talking here, and they are having their challenges because of the increased costs, because of the low quality water, the same brown water. But what I can tell you tonight, and I'm not going to promise you that the water is going to just immediately change color on the 12th of February when you elect a Democratic Labour Party government that will include in its number Mr. Ian Griffith. And I can talk to that a little further as well. But the truth is, we are committed to the concept of justice. And you notice that that has been placed up front and center in our manifesto. It is a fact that Ralph has very, very, very strong views on the creation of the just society. He reflects on his own personal experience. It was because of the policies of the Democratic Labour Party that saw a young man from the Grisette's landing scheme come to the very highest levels of his profession, and of course, he is days away from the very highest office in government in Barbados. But that pursuit of justice will also affect you here, because Ian has been on this issue, and indeed we have all embraced it, that it is only fair, it is only just that if the quality of water that you are receiving from the Water Authority is not up to scratch, it should be reflected in your bill. And you should not have to pay a water bill at the same level as someone who is getting proper quality water. And we're committed to that. I might just mention we're also committed to dealing with that garbage and sewage levy as well too. Fundamentally unfair. If you have a well in your yard, why are you paying a sewage tax? Why is it? And this thing is raising a lot of money. It is wrong. It reflects, again, a perversion of justice, and it is something that we are committed to correcting within the context of what we are seeking to do in a new government. And in that regard, I happen to have a little bit of experience being in a government. And I mean what I'm about to say when I tell you that there is a role for someone with the qualities of Ian Griffith in the new government. I don't have to extol his virtues, you know, all of them. A natural leader, a businessman, an all-around good person. All of those qualities. Someone who is grounded. Someone who would make a perfect parliamentary representative, which is why it is generally accepted that just what I heard in Coconut Hall on my way here is what you're hearing across this parish, and that is that the next member of parliament will be Ian Richard Griffith. But I have to say, unfortunately, I will have to tell you that as much as you're looking forward to having him as your MP, you're going to have to share him with Barbados because he has to be a part of the next government of this country. And it isn't for me to decide exactly what his role will be. But I can assure you he will have an important role. And so I've come to speak on this platform. I've come to, of course, give you the assurance that I bring greetings from St. Michael, South Central, and indeed the parish of St. Michael, and I can tell you 11 constituencies, and the majority of those constituencies are shifting. There is something seriously happening in Barbados, and there is a movement towards the Democratic Labour Party, a desire for change. And I am willing to say that St. Lucie has led us in this regard because you were there a little quicker than the rest of us, but it is for real. And no longer are people simply saying that we are going, it's not just about seats and moving now, it is about a new government and moving on the 12th of February. And I would want you to just think on a couple of the matters that matter, a couple of the issues that are important to us that we will be addressing. It is clear to all and sundry that the government has thrown up its hands with respect to the crime situation. We have promised that we will address that at several levels. We believe that we can reduce the levels of frustration and the hopelessness in our young people, and therefore create an environment by attacking the issue of people being pushed onto the margin and seeing crime as an option by addressing it in a holistic manner. We can start to see a difference in terms of what is happening with crime in Barbados. We also believe that you don't need to consort with criminal elements either. There's absolutely no reason why, if everybody knows who the key players are in terms of gang-related activity in Barbados, surely we could address it by dealing with that select few group of people. It certainly is not effective to befriend these elements and even somehow make it possible for them to benefit financially. Now, I know the peace program, no one even talks about it. And that says something. A government that is dealing with crime out of control sets up a program and now has nothing at all to say about it. And I am saying to you that another reason why this government honestly needs to be given its walking papers is because it's ignoring to do what is the most important task of any government, to keep its citizens safe and secure. You cannot feel safe and secure when a government responds by, one, politicizing the police force. And there are a lot of people from St. Lucie who are members of the Barbados Police Force. I see a few of them here. They know what I'm talking about. The politicization of the police force. It only seems to happen when the Barbados Labour Party is in office. And we are going to depoliticize them and at the same time put measures in place and provide resources that we can also deal with the crime situation. And, of course, that in itself will see a reduction in violence. People are too restless. You mean to tell me in our schools, on our streets, even at the Girlfriends Expo, it looks as though we just see violence and anger erupting. We need to have a government of love that will preach something along the lines of meaningful peace. You can't have a manufactured peace program. It has to be in every action of the government and the people that make up the government. And I'm suggesting to you that a Democratic Labour Party government will have that quality. I also believe very strongly, and this in itself relates to the crime situation, that effective measures designed to directly confront the cost of living crisis in Barbados also should be saluted. We haven't said we're going to eliminate VAT. We said we would reduce it by 2.5% to 15%. And I think that that should also be looked at along with the fact that we're going to zero rate another of other items that you would like to have in your food basket, particularly the healthy items. And so that, again, is a government that is determined to also tackle the other issue that this Barbados Labour Party administration seems not to be keen to deal with, and that is the prices in the... Lord, am I sending the attack bees here? You know what that is. Anyhow, the issue of cost of living and the fact that we just can't seem to get a grip on it. And we understand that there are things we have no control over, but there are things that we can control. And it is clear that we have some sort of room to provide some relief because we're giving relief to the tune of $225 million to basically foreign entities or even local entities with a foreign presence, but large companies. And if it is we have that kind of capacity, we have to look for ways and means that we can get more money into the pockets of our citizens. It is as simple as that. And I know it is not always a simple issue, but the whole point is that by analyzing the components of costs, particularly in those essential items, we are able to come up with a program that can effectively see that costs are lowered, and lowered in a meaningful way. it seems as though a Democratic Labour Party government is always has to be put in place to bring sanity back to the affairs of Barbados. And I can tell you, what is accorded priority at the moment is not in your interests. We could talk about the rampant borrowing as well. We could talk about all of the initiatives that can't be costed. There's nothing wrong with a party where everybody loves to shake a leg. I like to shake a leg too. But you can't have We Gathering and Carry Festa and Independence and the other one, what are the other ones? Crop Over. Well, yeah, we do that every year. But you can't have all of these events and have them basically without any sort of cost at all. You're going to have another special set, or you want to have one for Independence next year. You're having another We Gathering the year after. We had Carry Festa and We Gathering. It is just one fete after another fete, after another fete, after another fete. And that is not in the interest of Barbadians. At the same time, you're borrowing like crazy. So we are spending, we're borrowing, and we're spending, and we have nothing to show for it. As a matter of fact, you have a lot of bad roads all over the place. Infrastructure crumbling, and the society as well. And you know this is the key element, the key component of being a Dem, recognizing that Barbados' society matters, and particularly creating that society where those elements on the fringe, those who are marginalized, can at least feel that there is an opportunity. Not that you're giving them anything, but the opportunity does exist. And those qualities are actually very much represented in how you live in this parish of St. Lucie. Those values. I can't promise you that when I go canvassing that I go home with my trunk full of things, as happens apparently in St. Lucie. That's what I gather from Verla and Ian. It don't really work so in St. Michael. As a matter of fact, you better make sure you got something in your pocket. But nevertheless, we all understand the urban realities and the pressures and so on. But the serious point that I'm making is that the Democratic Labour Party is always about creating a more just society. And the manifesto that we have presented very much represents that. And I say to you that it has been crafted by a number of individuals who believe in that philosophy. I say to you that Ian has a role to play in the next government, and I ask you to vote for him not only for you, but for me and for all of Barbados as well, too. He's going to do right by St. Lucie. I know that, and you know that. But he's going to do right for Barbados as well. And possibly even beyond the shores, the region. We don't know. So we really need to think carefully about what we have to do. And I'm going to presume that there's some others in this crowd who are not from St. Lucie. And I can only urge you as well. I can only urge you to support the Democratic Labour Party. You will note that this platform has been of the very highest quality. The only time I call Peter Phillips' name is when I was reporting to you what someone from St. Lucie said to me. I don't see any point, and I'm sure Ian feels this way. I certainly feel the same way about my opponent. these are people who had zero input in the bad decisions of this government in the beginning. And right now they have less than zero input because both of them were put out in Motley's cabinet. So now let's waste time with the likes of Carolyn and Phillips. Let's focus on repairing the damage that has been done by Motley. And let's get this Democratic Labour Party back into office. Let's get quality representatives looking out for the people of Barbados, dealing with the important elements. And your task, again, is to make sure that you come out in your numbers and vote for Ian Richard Griffith on the 11th of February. St. Lucie, it is always a pleasure to be here. Thank you for entertaining me, and thank you for bearing with me. It has been a long, long day, but I couldn't possibly not make the journey to enjoy some fresh air, to enjoy the camaraderie and fellowship that is unique to this parish, and of course, to endorse my friend Ian Griffith as he is days away from being the next Member of Parliament for St. Lucie. Thank you.
Well, all right. Okay, Daddy Lord. We voted for return. We can vote for Richard Seeley. I don't know about you, but one thing I know, Richard Seeley putting you first. So we voting for return. I don't know about you, but one thing I know, Richard Seeley putting you first. So we voting for return.
This is the man, the best minister of tourism. This is the man, and we will be a part of the new government of Barbados.
Show them that you is the truth. The people need help, now we want a little boost. I don't know about you, but one thing I know, Richard Seeley putting you first. So we voting for return. I don't know about you, but one thing I know, Richard Seeley putting you first. So we voting for return. Well, all right. Okay, Daddy Lord. We voted for return. We can vote for Richard Seeley. I don't know about you, but one thing I know, Richard Seeley putting you first. So we voting for return. I don't know about you, but one thing I know, Richard Seeley putting you first. So we voting for return. Richard Seeley outside your window. Richard Seeley outside your door. Constituents praying for the MP, but she and I don't see she no more. Richard Seeley's still here for you, so I wanna know what you gonna do. Bring your family and bring your crew. It's time for a change, no way long overdue. Richard Seeley, we voting for you. Show them what else you can do. Show them that you is the truth. The people need help, now we want a little boost. I don't know about you, but one thing I know, Richard Seeley putting you first. So we voting for return. I don't know about you, but one thing I know, Richard Seeley putting you first. So we voting for return.
Okay, again, one time I want to say to you in Pike Corner that we have some powerful speakers tonight. Have we made our case? Are you voting for Griff on Wednesday? Okay, we're going to be voting for Griff on Wednesday. I just want to apologize for the absence of our comrade leader, Ralph Thorne. You see, the logistics did not work out. He's not able to make it tonight, but you can come on Tuesday night. We are going to be at Haggett Hall for our big closing meeting on Tuesday night, and I invite you to come to Tuesday night and hear our comrade leader, Ralph Thorne. Now, tomorrow night, we are going to be in Collington for a spot meeting, and I want you to come out tomorrow night for a spot meeting. Come Tuesday night for the big closing meeting. And of course, on Wednesday, we are going to vote them. We are going to vote them. We are making it Sheffield. We are making it Sheffield. So I just want to thank you for coming out tonight. And I want to invite you to get your manifesto, get your compact, use your phone, scan it, share it with a friend, make sure that they know what the Democratic Labour Party has in store for them. So thank you for coming out tonight to Pike Corner and get home safely.
As much as I would like to wiggle my nose and say let there be pipe, it takes time for them to lay pipe. Mom, like she think we stupid or we bewitched. So this time, we gon' switch. Phillips got revex, revex, revex. Cannot get VX, VX, VX. Phillips got revex, revex, revex. Cannot get VX, VX, VX. We gon' shift to breath, we gon' shift to breath, we gon' shift, 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 shift to breath, we gon' shift to breath, we gon' shift to breath, we gon' shift, 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 shift.